in the chat with the real-time data. Drop that spin, we'll fact-check it later. Facts still matter, yeah, we're keeping receipts. Headlines fine, but we read past the tweets. If it's news, if it's now, Steve breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out. Scrolling through the chaos, everybody's got a take. But Steve's in the live with the sources on display. No rumors, no drama, no somebody said. Just what's proven, what's solid, what's actually been read. He's calling out the claims, separating real from fake. Cutting through confusion like a clean earthquake. Current events, yeah, he's got that mapped. If it's not verified, it's getting unwrapped. So drop your questions, drop your doubts. Steve's here sorting all the truth from the cloud. No panic, no spin, no agenda to flatter. Just one simple rule, facts still matter. Facts still matter, say it louder, say it louder. Truth cuts through all the noise, that's power. Steve's in the chat with the real-time data. Drop that spin, we'll fact check it later. Facts still matter, yeah, we're keeping receipts. Headlines flying, but we read past the tweets. If it's news, if it's now, Steve breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully we're working through some tech. It's been a weird day. We lost power before. I wasn't even sure we were going to do a show tonight. It didn't come back on until like a half an hour ago. So I don't even know if everything is running, everything working okay. Can you guys hear me? Does it sound normal? It was so wild. Like half an hour ago, we didn't have electricity. Then it came back on. Then it went off again. And who knows? We've had massive storms in our area all day. Well, all afternoon. But hopefully it sounds a little bit better. You cannot hear me. Okay, does it sound good? Yeah, sounds good. All right, we're good. Okay, let me turn the camera on over here. Hopefully that works. Let's see. Yep, that's working too. All right. Yeah, okay. You can hear. Got it. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, friends. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, and liking is loving, and sharing is caring. I appreciate you. Please help us take out that gift goal. That's a great place to start. Helps us remain relevant, shows alive or TikTok that we're engaged, does push us to the FYP. Best way to support the channel at the end of the day is Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All donations are great, are always welcome, never expected. A $3 donation or more, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo gets you entered into our weekly contest. We give away merch items on Monday mornings at 10 o'clock. So again, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, also Super Chats on YouTube. So thank you, everybody over there. And if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please consider doing that. I appreciate you all very much. And thank you for jumping in tonight. So we, obviously we've been testing this debate topic. The past couple of nights have been some very interesting conversations. I kind of tweaked things up a little bit, changed some of the prompts in the background. Teach sex ed in school, not the Bible. Male loneliness is because of men. Are men protectors? We've had some wild conversations about that. And then why aren't men accountable? Well, we've got somebody in the box, so let's just jump in. Hello, Stretch.
Hey, you're a rage-baiting faggot.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Did you wait in the chat just to bring that up? Okay. You have a nice night. Appreciate you. Wow. Ding, 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 and we're off. So I have a couple things that I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. There's this new I don't know if it's new, but there's this new psychiatric evaluation, introvert, extrovert. Now there's a new one called Autrovert or Otrovert. I want to get into that with you guys. I want to talk about the male loneliness epidemic. But first, I want to play you some sound from, you're going to hear from this gentleman here. Now, you can imagine where this conversation is going to go. You guys know Luke Beasley. Luke is a creator. Luke does a lot of good work out talking to many, many people across all walks of life. He had this person on his show, and I can't really, there's really no setup necessary. Okay. So here you are.
I mean, you're having sex and you can't reproduce. Like, the best part about having sex is reproduction. Seriously. Like, I don't value sex because of an orgasm. I value sex because I know that I am going to reproduce and have another baby.
Maybe the orgasm weren't good enough. Kidding. Sorry.
Pain. I mean, like, seriously though, like, the best part of it's why as soon as we got together, like, she's off birth control. As soon as we got married, yeah. As soon as we're together, it's like no birth control, nothing, because I'm not gonna have gay sex. And like, gay sex is more than just like another man.
So now sex with your partner heterosexual sex, if you're not doing it to reproduce, then it's gay. Okay.
And in a man, it's just like the idea of looking at sex as such a materialistic thing and just like, oh, well, like we just have an orgasm and that's fun or whatever. No, like, dude, sex is about having children. It's about having babies. Like you pump yourself full of birth control and then you have sex with your wife and like there's no purpose there except just pleasure. That's the only purpose.
Should people
pleasure.
who are born like infertile
Okay.
have sex?
It depends. Listen, I am pro like people committing to celibacy for the rest of their life. I am pro like that. And if that was something that they couldn't have babies, I believe that they should have that choice there.
Well, they have the choice.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
Yeah,
is
so
that
I-
what you believe?
Oh my goodness. There is so much to unpack there. So how old do we figure he is? You know, early, mid 20s, maybe mid 20s, perhaps. Does anybody need to hear that again? Because there's so much. I've listened to it like 3 times, and I'm like, what? Oh, he's married. So, you know, yeah, no, I didn't think so. Couple things, right? He only wants to have sex to reproduce, and it's only pleasurable if you're doing it to reproduce. Please play it. Okay, sure, I'll play it again. Sorry, some folks have missed it. I'm sorry. Here it goes.
I mean, you're having sex and you can't reproduce. Like the best part about having sex is reproduction. Seriously. Like I don't value sex because of an orgasm. I value sex because I know that I am going to reproduce and have another baby.
Maybe the orgasm aren't good
the-
enough. Kidding. Sorry.
Pain. I mean, like seriously though, like the best part of it's why as soon as we got together, like she's off birth control. As soon
We
as
got married, yeah.
as soon as we're together, it's like no birth control, nothing, because I'm not gonna have gay sex. And like gay sex is more than just like another man and a man. It's just like the idea of looking at sex as such a materialistic thing and just like, oh, well, like we just have an orgasm and that's fun or whatever. No, like, dude, sex is about having children. It's about having babies. Like you pump yourself full of birth control and then you have sex with your wife and like there's no purpose there except just pleasure. That's the only purpose.
Should people
pleasure.
who are born like infertile
Okay.
have sex?
It depends. Listen, I am pro like people committing to celibacy for the rest of their life. I am pro like.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow, there is so much there. So much there. I have a few other things that I wanted to get over that I wanted to talk to you guys tonight, but let's have some convos. Everybody please keep tapping and sharing. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you very much. I know. What the hell, right? Exactly. And the guest has already gone offline. So, you know, the I guess we're starting to see it more and more. I mean, he's not the first, and you'll notice the hat, Make America Great Again hat, and I'll remind people he's a voter, that he's a voter. I'm starting to hear it more and more that men his age, and we're going to get into the science of the male loneliness epidemic, which was created by men, for men to justify their bullshit behavior, our bullshit behavior. I hear more and more of them saying that if you're not having sex to reproduce, then it's gay. I don't understand. I just don't understand that. And if you're not getting pleasure from your orgasm, then my dude, you just ain't fucking doing it right. I don't know what else to tell you, but yeah, there's that. CWM, how are you tonight?
Trying to find joy. What's one positive thing you've experienced or accomplished?
Welcome. Thanks for being here today.
last 24 hours.
What's on your mind?
So I saw this video and I drew a parallel between this young man and the fellow who committed the Pulse nightclub pew-pewing. I think what we're seeing a lot here is a scourge or an epidemic of young men who are so violently closeted, largely driven often by certainly politics, but also Christian mythology, that they're acting out in this way. And it is such that I'm, if anything, extremely worried for his, I guess, girlfriend there or
wife
in quotes. It's hard for me to assign what I would say are symbols or terms of maturity, maturity like wife, husband, or whatever, to people who are so woefully underdeveloped in terms of their prefrontal cortices. But I'm very worried for her because this is the type of young man, statistically and historically, who lashes out physically, emotionally, and psychologically when his needs are not met. And his needs seem to be, to be topped. He sort of seems like a twink bottom, and I fear that she will not meet his needs.
Yeah, I don't want to label. Sure, that's your opinion, but I think there's a lot of truth to what you said about the closeted nature. Because why would he bring it up? He's the one that referenced gay sex just because he's not having sex to reproduce, therefore not enjoying pleasure. Therefore, in his mind, unless you are having sex to reproduce, then it's considered gay sex, and it's about shame.
Sure.
So,
Well, and to be clear, look, I'm queer. There's certainly nothing wrong with being a twink bottom, right? They can be a lot of fun. I think the problem is, right, this is a person who is incredibly closeted. It's my presumption. I'm not a doctor certainly, or
Sure.
a mental health professional. But I'm going to guess that he also is not particularly familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Probably not.
And of course, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's the physiopsychological need of intimacy, which necessarily or necessitates physical or sexual intimacy. And again, my guess is that the sexual intimacy or dynamic between the two of them is at best mechanical and at worst compulsory, if not violent.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think I think it relates to the male loneliness epidemic about men being afraid to be emotionally intimate. So it manifests
Sure.
it manifests in different ways. Again, society tells men the only emotions that you're truly allowed to show are anger and lust. Therefore, all those
100%.
whether they're closeted tendencies or just aggressive tendencies that have been closeted for a lack of self-awareness or an unwillingness to self-identify as to whom you are.
Yeah.
So it shows itself in a variety of ways, sadly.
Sure. I don't know if you're familiar with the late '90s venerable film starring Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Greg Kinnear, but Something's Got to Give.
Yeah.
And the problem is, or was it as good as it gets?
I think it was as good as it gets. But either one, but I think
as good as it gets.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I feel like there was a Nicholson film called Something's Got to Give. I could be wrong. Anyway, this Something's Got to Give, and I would hope. I think that a lot of people use the term therapy or related terms pejoratively. I certainly do not. I think that this is a young couple, particularly this young man, who could benefit substantially from therapy, a broad spectrum of therapy, including talk therapy, maybe cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, et cetera. And I think that, I fear for the woman here because from what I could gather from the interaction they had, she seemed sort of passive, sort of obsequious and not acquiescent. And my guess is that the power imbalance in that relationship is woefully and tragically disproportionately, leaning toward him. But again, probably rooted in Christian mythology.
Agreed, and more common. And I heard you mention therapy, and I would like to use this opportunity to remind men that it shouldn't necessarily be at a time of doubt and pain. I'm an advocate for therapy.
Exactly.
I'm an advocate for it regularly, even when things are going well in your life.
So not necessarily reactively,
correct.
But proactively.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah. Correct.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I worry for her. I hope that she, is in a position to protect herself, from what seems to be invariable rage and poor conflict resolution in the future. I do really appreciate you having me up.
Sure.
Please stay safe.
Thank you.
And remember not to, please don't stick your dick in frozen water, but fuck ice every day.
Word. Thank you, friend. Appreciate you. We've spoken before. Yeah, I mean, I think he's right. That soundbite is really interesting, but I think it's obviously that's in our faces, so to speak. But I think those relationships exist everywhere, which again leads into the male loneliness epidemic, in my opinion. Which is why I think we should be teaching sex ed in school and not the Bible. There's so many layers to this, so many. So I see some folks in the box. If you want to jump in and talk about it, please go on up. Appreciate you all for being here. Everybody keep tapping, please. Appreciate you. JJ's, how are you tonight? JJ, are you there? JJ's Crazy World? Okay. Oh, sorry. My apologies. I didn't mean to. If you meant to be in the box, please come on back up. CW, thank you for the conversation. I've always enjoyed talking to you. Appreciate it. Okay. Probably was, yes. Busy Bee, how are you tonight? Busy Bee? Thank you for tapping. I appreciate you. I heard the tapper. No, you're good, JJ. No problem. The person, this is the person we were talking about because I just played this sounder from this gentleman who believes that you should only be having sex to reproduce. He believes in people should be leading a celibate lifestyle. And then if you are taking pleasure from sex, then that's a bad thing because it should strictly be utilitarian more than anything else. And I think that is extremely unsettling, which I really hope that this next generation, I'm trying to be objective, but I don't know. So there's that. All right. I want to get into a couple other little things here. I want to talk about this as we're waiting for people to come in. Everybody remind your favorite friends and foes that it is debate night. We'd love to. This doesn't even necessarily have to be opposition, but if you agree with me politically, do you believe that we should be teaching sex ed in school, not the Bible? Male loneliness is because of men. Are men protectors? It's a question. And why aren't men accountable? Had a couple of really interesting conversations with people about the bottom two topics over the last couple of days. But I want to introduce you guys to something I've been reading a lot about. Psychiatrists and mental health professionals are now looking for a new way to categorize people as opposed to just introvert or extrovert. They're called otroverts or otroverts. It's OTRO-verts. So otrovert, I guess it would be. For decades, psychologists forced everyone into two primary boxes: introvert, which needs solitude, and then extrovert, which thrives on people. Now, those are generalized definitions, but that's how they describe it for the purpose of this conversation. The real human behavior isn't that rigid, and millions never fit into either category. Over the last few years, psychiatrists and personality researchers began noticing a group that doesn't match traditional patterns. They're not shy, they're not loud, they're not drained by people, but not fueled by crowds either. Their mood changes with the environment. Otroverts are individuals whose brains can switch between introverted and extroverted states depending on who they're with, how safe they feel, how stimulating the conversation and the environment is, and whether their nervous system is calm or overloaded. An otrovert's brain has flexible communication between two systems: the language and social circuits, which is the extroversion mode, and then the introspection and sensory circuits, which would then be the introversion mode. In safe, warm environments, the social system activates, which then would be the language and social circuits. And then in chaotic and draining environments, the introspective system takes over, which would be sensory and introspection. Interesting. An introvert can be quiet at first, but talkative later, reserved with strangers and expressive with friends, independent alone, but deeply connected in relationships, and then observant in groups, but confident one-on-one. It's not inconsistency, it's adaptive intelligence. Energy for introverts is tied to emotional safety. If the room feels draining, intimidating, fake, or overstimulating, they withdraw instantly. Not because they dislike people, but because their nervous system shifts into conversation or conservation mode. Give an introvert a trusted friend, a deep conversation, a non-judgmental environment, someone who listens, and they become the funniest, brightest, most expressive version of themselves. Introverts have unique advantages: high emotional awareness, ability to read energy quickly, strong boundaries, deep empathy, adaptability in social situations, and then they function like social thermometers, adjusting to the vibe instantly. People misunderstand them. They get labeled as inconsistent, unpredictable, or selectively social. But the truth is much simpler. They show different sides depending on whether their nervous system feels safe. Introverts thrive with a balance of time alone to reset, a small circle of deep connections, authentic conversations over small talk, environments that don't drain their emotional battery, and then freedom to decide when they want people and when they don't. If you've always felt sort of in between, you're not confused, you're likely an introvert. Your personality isn't split. It's flexible, intuitive, and deeply responsive to energy, and that's a rare strength. So, somebody just said that. Somebody just said autistic. Now, I'm not gonna label that, but that does sound like something you would see. I mean, people. It's really interesting. Like it would seem like most of us would fall into those categories. I'm not a big fan of labels in general, but it would seem like most of us would kind of fit into that category. Like you adapt. They talk about the superpower of only. I'm an only child. They talk about the superpower of only children, just because you are forced to assimilate to the environment, right? So you're alone at times, many times, often, especially growing up with divorce, et cetera. So you're oftentimes alone, comfortable being alone, but also loving people, right? So maybe that's what they're trying to describe here. So I do think it's really interesting that there's now maybe a label. So it's a combination of the two, but it's all based on the influence around you and whether or not you are flexible enough to adapt. Now, people might say I'm a total introvert. Like I've heard people say that they're extroverted introverts or introverted extroverts, right? Well, maybe you're just an introvert, and that's because you can assimilate and you're malleable, and then you read the room really, really well. You might be very cautious walking in, right? Sort of like, okay, I'm gonna feel things out here. The spider senses have engaged, and then once you're comfortable, boom, you just sort of loosen right up. I think it's kind of cool. All right, got some folks that are requesting and would love to talk to people about this, either that topic or anything else tonight. But I'm just curious about our prompts this evening as well. Thank you, guys. You feel room energy immediately? Me too, Michelle. Always have. Good evening, Mama. How are you?
Oh, well, gee, that was an accident. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anything?
But I do love you and listen to you every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking me on my dog walks, which we're doing right now.
I appreciate you very much. Thanks for jumping in. You have a good night. Be safe out there.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Bye. Yeah, I think it's what it is. It's just like, well, and I think this is interesting. I didn't think about this until just now. The situation with women obviously puts you all in a bit of a different circumstance. You're reading rooms potentially for different reasons than I might read a room, right? Are you looking for threats? Is the head on a swivel? Yes. Are you trying to analyze where it may be safe in this particular room? I'm just asking that question. There's one part that I really liked. Introverts thrive with a balance of time alone to reset, a small circle of deep connections, authentic conversations over small talk, environments that don't drain their emotional battery, and then freedom to decide when they want people and when they don't. Kind of cool. I really like that. Anyway, so I know you're going to analyze it now. Good. North Hollywood, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I'm just sort of kind of looking at the prompts you have on the side. I'm really curious about the oh dear God, it's pointy.
Cool. You don't. You might want to get that fixed. Is it now? Did you perhaps visit? Have some Tyler Farms lettuce? Was that the? Yeah, it wasn't even funny. See, nobody laughed. Nobody laughed. Did you have an extra little bit of shredded lettuce on your chalupa? Perhaps, maybe. I don't know. Just curious. I will use this opportunity before I introduce Jen that male loneliness is because of men. Hello, friend.
I was, it's really funny. I'm out here and my eggplant trees are just all over the place when you were talking about that kid with the closet. Anyways, and then I'm listening and then I hear this fool and I'm like, and they want to tell us that there's not a male loneliness epidemic. Bro, you are the poster child of the male loneliness epidemic. Like literally, that was so infantile. Who the fuck would want to date you, sir? Literally, like I don't.
Which one?
I mean,
which
I know
one? Our
ladies
previous
stand up-
guest, or the sound that I played from the gentleman who thinks you should not be having sex unless you want to reproduce, and even then, he's not so sure. He believes that there should be a celibate lifestyle.
Well, that kid is just immature, right? Like I personally feel like that is a Christian nationalist plant to control women, right? Because if you get women to agree that sex is just for reproducing, you trap them.
Yeah.
You trap them and they are stuck,
Yeah.
right? So if you can get a whole bunch of women, especially, we're talking about like, what do you call it? What is that psycho group called? That Charlie Kirk, whatever those people are.
Turning point.
Turning point.
Yeah.
Those turning point chicks will do anything for their turning point man. Oh, no birth control. Okay. Give you access to all my funds. Okay. It's just like that. This is just a way for the Republican alt-right Christian nationalists to hook the children.
I think I have somebody
just to get them to think like that.
That might have requested. Let me bring somebody up. Yeah, I would agree. But so as the disclaimer, I think the prompt about male loneliness is perfect so far tonight. To be perfectly honest, because male loneliness is because of men.
But here's the thing that I want to say. Like, if you're up here and your plan was to disagree, you did nothing but prove his point like tenfold over. Like, I'm almost tempted to be like, cut that clip and show it so that we can all see why there's a male loneliness epidemic, and play that clip, because that's why. Because that's not attractive. It's not something that's ever going to attract any woman, no matter what. Even the trans women don't want you, bro.
The thing is that fart jokes can be funny, but that wasn't funny. Come on, they can be.
I don't know about the ladies in the chat, but I think I can speak for a majority of us when I say we shriveled up like prunes just now.
Yeah. Just saying, down south is a dry Sahara.
Yeah. Well, that's the.
You know what you wanted to do? The opposite happened, sir.
I'm not even sure if that's. I'm not even sure. Yeah.
No, but that is maybe the MAGA mating call, but it's definitely not of the progressive women. That's for sure. You can go try it at a Trump rally though and see what happens. You might get lucky.
Did you both?
That is.
Go ahead. Sorry, Michelle.
No, I was going to say that's a perfect example of why women get birth control, or their tubes tied, or voluntary hysterectomies. Yeah.
Chastity belts. Nope. Lock and key.
Or just would rather pleasure ourselves than deal with that.
Top drawer, man.
Hey, you know what? Bob doesn't argue back.
Nope.
Bob doesn't say a fucking word. He does what he's supposed to do.
That's correct.
That's it.
Good boy, Bob. Did either one of you agree with the? Did you notice how I moved quickly away from that conversation? Anyway, did either one of you? Would you categorize yourself as introverts? Now that I read that definition.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that, like, for me personally, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this, is that I grew up in a very hostile household because of my parents' divorce, and it made me very in tune with reading people and situations so that I could react if I needed to. And so I think that that's something that you know, I don't know, it just feels like that's definitely me, because when I love being alone, but I also love being around people, but I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, let's go out, girls. You know, I'm just like, all right, I'll go. Maybe I'm just old.
I'm the only girl, and I have 3 brothers and a bunch of uncles, and so I was, you know, always around a bunch of shitty males. So I think that kind of is what put my head on a swivel, and, you know, having terrible relationships didn't help. And then the rest of my family turning out to be MAGA supporters, so that really tied it off for me. I just, same as Jen, became very hypervigilant. Essay abuse at a very young age. Those things tend to, I think, heighten other senses. I think that's where I became an empath. I started to read the energy and feel the energy of people around me, and I can sense when somebody's intentions are not good just being in the room with them. It's just such a heaviness. You can feel it immediately.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable being alone. It's not like, you know, I don't necessarily like seek it out. I don't need. There are times when I do. Like, there's times that I choose to do things, like time on a motorcycle, time fishing, time snowboarding, whatever it might be, time with the dog. But I would absolutely classify myself as an introvert, reading those definitions without question. I mean, no doubt about it. You know, I think that's. I don't know if that's a superpower, as I was describing, of only children. But I think maybe, you know, I think you have to navigate. You know, you're primarily alone at home, and then when you're in school, or when you're on a team, or when you're a part of a cast, you have to adapt differently. So, hi, Ren. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So first of all, that guy that you played twice, I was in the shower screaming at you to not play it again.
Sorry.
I've heard enough. And the guy who came up with the joke that he thought was going to be funny, just again, I was in the shower and it just dried right up. It just all of a sudden was just like, geez, I'm not even wet anymore. Anyways,
no towel
so no towel needed. So there's that. But also, you also know how I feel about the male loneliness being because of men. I think I'm actually gonna start another little segments of wild shit that men say to me through these dating apps, because it's wild. It's wild.
You could do a whole show on that.
You could.
Yeah, that's not really. It's not really the kind of live I do. I tend to be more of like a video series kind of girl. So I might do that. My only live, of course, my only live is tomorrow morning at 10:30 to 12:30, in front of Pete Hegseth's Christian Nationalist Christ Kirk Church, DC, where we are letting the neighborhood, and where I am letting the TikTok neighborhood know what is going on in their actual backyards regarding Christian nationalism. So, but yeah, hey, excuse me. Sorry, cats. I am a crazy cat lady too. I have 2 cats, and I love them dearly. Anyhow, lost my whole train of thought.
Christian nationalism, churches, men profiles.
Correct. That guy, the red hat guy, the first guy in the video.
Yeah.
He is probably following under Doug Wilson's beliefs. Yep, that guy.
That guy.
I would say that he is a danger to society, and 100% a danger to whomever the woman is that he is with. He just kind of looks creepy. but
yeah, but strong in his convictions. I don't get it. You know, like that's the part that I just like. You know, it's almost like they're apologizing. Not apologize. That's the wrong word. It's not okay to experience pleasure, even if you're there to reproduce. It's strictly just utilitarian. Like that's it. That's the only. We shouldn't be having sex for pleasure. Otherwise, it's gay. In his words, it's like the same guy I talked about before. Who, if you provide oral sex for your partner and she likes it, then you're a beta because you gave into her pleasure, her desire for pleasure, and then that makes you look weak in her mind. And I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? That's messaging coming from the red pill. What the absolute fuck? Male loneliness
those
is
two guys
because
need
of
to get
men.
together.
They are together. They're all in the same waters, like literally.
No, I mean get together. I think that they should join together and form a couple and really love on each other the way that they need to be loved, the way that only they can love on each other. Because clearly women are never going to do it for them.
Clearly. Clearly. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but I don't know how else to respond. It's just like, this is the influence. This is why this is why I choose to have these conversations, because yes, male loneliness is because of men, but yet they think for some reason that they're on the right path. I don't know. I don't get it. And yet there seem to be women that like it or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. I'm rarely at a loss for words, but this is confusing to me. Very confusing.
I think that there, again, the therapy thing comes into play, because I think that a lot of women do put up with a lot of negative behavior from their partners, regardless of who the partner is, because anyone can be abusive to somebody else. And, you know, I think that really, in order to be able to treat someone correctly, you have to know how to treat yourself right. And these people don't. They can't even identify who they are as people. Like, they can't even identify what it is that is making them feel the way they feel. And that is inherently what is making them lonely.
Agreed. Michelle, Jen, any additional commentary on that?
No, she hit the nail on the head. Really.
Well,
it's concerning. That's all I can say.
It's an interesting way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wasn't accidental.
So,
The beans.
oh, sorry.
You mean a giant
so I'm a science gal, and I just looked it up. This is a major research site. So it says biologically, sexual reproduction is how humans produce offspring. So reproduction is one evolutionary function of intercourse, but human sexuality is broader than reproductive intercourse. A major study examining why people have sex identified hundreds of reported motivations, including attraction, pleasure, affection, emotional closeness, curiosity, and relationship maintenance, not merely reproduction. Human sexuality also engages brain systems involved in reward, attachment, and bonding. Research connects satisfying sexual activity within couples with relationships quality and maintenance, although hormones such as oxytocin should not be reduced to simplistic bonding chemical claims. The World Health Organization explicitly recognizes pleasure, intimacy, and reproduction as separate dimensions of sexuality and states that people have sex as part of healthy lives and intimate relationship, not just reproduction. And science says that people who believe like that young man, they don't say that they have a mental illness, but they do usually say that they have a moral or philosophical position which has shaped them, like religious teaching, family or cultural socialization, traditional gender expectations, sexual conservatism, or beliefs about marriage, conception, and gender roles, which is their right. But, you know, like to just say that that's the only reason, stating it as fact is wrong. you know. And like I said, I do believe that it is a way to trap women, because that young woman, if she's married to him, how many children is she going to have? You know, when you get up into the teens, it becomes physically dangerous for women. And then if he just decides to pick up and leave, who the hell is going to take care of those children? Her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I've got somebody in the box that's requested. Bye, Ren. Thank you for jumping in. Appreciate you. Jess, I'm good. Thank you very much. I appreciate your note. I'm good. It's a tap of the chest, like a checking in. Good evening, Tony. How are you tonight?
How you doing?
I'm good.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm just so excited to come in here and tell you what happened. So you remember that story about the illegal, the undocumented woman and her daughter?
We might have to refresh my memory a little bit, Tony. Talk to a lot of people. I remember talking to you. I just may not remember that story.
Just a little bit. My 12-year-old daughter had a best friend, and something happened, and they ended up on the street, and the mother was going through courts,
right,
to get, and so they ended up on the street. Well, all this time I was out there looking for them, because I was going to take them to my house and just help them. You know what I mean? So my daughter calls me one day and says, "Dad, come pick me up. My best friend called me and they want to talk with you." So I went and picked up my daughter from my exes. And so we ended up at this church. This church had them inside the church. And so I walked in there, and the mom asked me if I can take her and her daughter home, to take them home. It was a 3-hour drive into Mexico. And you know, I'm an ex-MAGA, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna do this. So I took my daughter home, and I drove to Mexico, drove in with the mom and the daughter, and her brother was supposed to be waiting for her inside of Mexico on the border town. It was Nogales, Mexico, because I live in Phoenix. Anyways, so we drive in, and there's these 3 SUVs pull up, and these guys come out with guns, and they're standing by the cars. And her brother comes out of one of the vehicles, and they run up to each other and hug each other. And so they invited me to their house. So I went over there. They had a big old barbecue, and these were. I'm just gonna dox myself. I don't care.
No, don't. Don't, Tony. Don't. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Okay. So anyway, the mother hugged her daughter. Well, see, the mother had her mother was still alive.
Hey, Tony, can I ask you a favor? I mean, we need to we need to come where we got to wrap it up here. Okay, so land that plane. All that. Wait, hold on. All that backstory is important. What's the end? Where do we sit? Thank you.
Okay, so the mother told me, you know what? Thank you so much, and wanted to give me money. I refused. So I'm driving back home, and I'm feeling so good about myself that I helped somebody. You know,
fantastic.
I helped a woman get home.
It's fantastic.
You know what I mean?
That's fantastic.
And it's things like that we have to understand that we have feelings, we have humanity. You know, we have to help each other.
We do.
You know, and
we do.
And every morning after that I've woken up, I've never felt so good about myself. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
I used to feel lonely.
I know. Well,
I used to feel so lonely.
Yeah,
and
I think it's a good indicator. I think it's a good indicator, Tony, that there's little things, especially as you've evolved through your, you've evolved through your journey coming out of MAGA, and think what you recognize that humanity is a better way to be. So why don't you summarize that in like 30 seconds or less. Summarize your experience, where where you were, where you are, and do it like in 30 seconds or less, if you could, please. I appreciate that.
So because I was a MAGA and I was asshole, I got separated from my wife, and she just couldn't handle it, And so now that I'm doing things like this, she's looking at me, and she's noticing that I've changed for the better. You know, and so now she wants to talk with me and get back with me. But like I said, things are happening in a good way for me now, and I just want to tell everybody, I'm sorry for my vote, but I just want everybody to know that it's a change. It's a big struggle, but it's a change. I don't have no more friends, but it doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm on the right side now.
You are. Thank you for doing the work, Tony. Thanks for the update. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for letting me up.
You got it. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Thank you. Yeah, the journey's hard. The journey's long. Deconstruction from from a variety of things. So I'm so glad you were able to make that journey, Tony. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate you. Everybody keep tapping. We may need to do a reset. Butterby, Butterby, you're here all the time. I don't know why you just don't maybe one of these nights you'll be brave enough to accept. You could come up and talk. You're in here. You're in my lives during the day. You're in my lives at night. You've got a crush. I get it. I totally understand. But I don't bite. I only nibble. I promise. Okay.
He likes it.
Yeah.
Butterby likes it.
Perhaps. Big Z, are you there? Big Z? Big Z, are you there? I guess not. Okay. Who's got the background noise? I think it's you, Jen. There you go. It was you. Okay. All right. I guess while we're waiting for some more folks to come up, I kind of want to unpack a little bit about the specifics around the male loneliness epidemic and toxic masculinity, just so people can understand. It refers to the male loneliness epidemic refers to the observed increase in social isolation, loneliness, and lack of close relationships among many men, particularly those that are younger and middle-aged. It's called an epidemic in media and public discussion because surveys in several countries have found rising rates of loneliness, though researchers debate how much it is unique to men versus part of a broader loneliness trend. Several factors appear to contribute. Fewer close relationships. Studies have found that many men report having fewer close friends than in previous decades. Men are often less likely than women to maintain emotionally intimate friendships. I want to unpack that emotional intimacy in just a minute. Changing social structures. People are marrying later, moving more often, participating less in religious or civic groups, and working remotely more frequently. These changes reduce opportunities to build lasting social networks. Masculine social norms. In many cultures, boys and men are encouraged to be self-reliant, emotionally reserved, and avoid appearing vulnerable. This can make it harder to ask for support or deepen friendships. That part. Technology and online life, social media, gaming, and online entertainment can provide connection, but may also replace in-person interactions for some people. The effects vary widely by individual. Dating challenges. Some men report difficulty forming romantic relationships, which can compound loneliness. However, romantic relationships and friendships are not interchangeable. Close friendships are an important source of connection on their own. And then economic pressures. Financial insecurity, unstable employment, or long work hours can make it harder to maintain social ties and participate in community life. Any comments from either one of you on that topic?
I mean, I don't like, here's my thing. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard to just be a decent human being. Like, really, yeah. I don't understand it. I really, 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 really don't. Women who have done the work on themselves, been through some shit, don't want to have to take care of another child. I'm sorry, but I don't. I don't need to, like, I'm not interested in raising another child. I don't want to have to, tell you, what you're doing is immature. I don't want to go to the bar every night and party and get drunk. I don't want to hear you fart on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear your flatulence, you know,
Intentionally.
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's just like, if you need help becoming an adult, go find your mommy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not me.
Good call.
I don't want to be your mommy.
Good call. W's in the chat. W's in the chat for our friend Hector for the 20 on the Venmo. For the Just Being You Fund. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. That's very, very kind. Also, $3 on Cash App from Marie. Marie said, jumping on the dollar train. I want to win a shirt. That's really cool. Thank you. Appreciate you very much. Also, from Eric. Appreciate you, Eric. Eric also jumped on the $3 train. Again, donations of $3 or more, donations in increments of $3 gets you entered into our contest, and that's probably the best way to support the channel. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all at facts don't matter. Michelle, any comments or questions about that? What I just read, the one in particular that really stood out to me would be the in many cultures, boys and men are encouraged to be self-reliant, emotionally reserved, and avoid appearing vulnerable. This can make it harder to ask for support or deepen friendships. That's not just the male loneliness epidemic. That's the patriarchy, in my opinion.
Oh, 100% agree. And, you know, I think we don't all want to be forever mamas, okay? We're mamas for a limited time, and then we expect those babies to grow up and move on for the most part and gain some independence and raise their own babies so we can have lives again. We don't want a man who's going to expect that of us even after our kids have grown up and moved on. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Sorry.
It's a good point. No, you're right. Aaron, you were just here and then you dropped. I think I might do a restart, you guys, just to see if we can. That's okay, Aaron. It's no problem. What do you guys think? I think probably be a good idea to do a restart. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to restart, friends. Come back in like 30 seconds or 10 seconds. I'll see you guys in a minute. And we're back. And we're back. You know the drill. Tap, clap, like, love, share, care, repost, comment, do all the things. Do all the good things. I appreciate you guys very much for coming back. Yeah, we're just talking about the male loneliness epidemic. Our topics this evening, if you want to join us for our debate, it is all men. And it will always be all men because we don't, well, first of all, men are not accountable. Men are not protectors. Male loneliness is because of men, and teach sex ed in school and not the Bible. We've played a couple of bits of sound. We were talking about what introverts are, or otroverts are. We were just getting into the male loneliness epidemic. So I'm going to read a few more things once I get a few more people in here. Everybody keep tapping, please. Let me update our target here. Thank you again, Hector, if you're still back in there, bro. I appreciate you very much. Oop, I can't math. There we go. Tapping, clapping, liking, loving, sharing, caring. Thank you for reposting. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. Just thank you for being here. Appreciate you. A couple programming notes. I think we're just trying to find the right combination of trying to have these conversations. The Daily News Show, in case you guys didn't know, at the early hours of this morning, Todd Blanche was confirmed as the Attorney General of the United States of America, 50-49. Bill Cassidy ended up being the vote. That's how his infamy, he will live in infamy because of that. There's a few other things that are related to that. We know that Todd Blanche has already approached religious leaders saying that he's working hard along with the president to make sure that we do have a national abortion ban. Yeah, that happened early this morning, that Todd Blanche is the now Attorney General of the United States, the person who is doing everything possible to make sure that the Epstein files do not get released. Patriot Galaxy, can you come up and talk to me? Because if that's your opinion, I'm just curious about that. I'd like your perspective on why we should be teaching the Bible in school. I'd be curious about that. Dorothy, she called. Maybe. Hi, Patriot. How are you tonight?
Yo, I'm good.
Good. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on, should we be teaching the Bible?
Yeah, I think we should be teaching the Bible just like we teach. For example, make people read, or like as students read the Iliad, Homer's Odyssey. I think it's a great historical text. I think they can learn lots from it. It has a lot of good lessons in there.
Interesting.
I don't see why we shouldn't teach it.
Okay, so should we teach sex ed?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, so let's talk about the Bible though. Would you you've got a lot of background noise. Would you believe it's a religious doctrine?
A religious doctrine itself? No.
Why would you say that?
Well, just because someone reads the Bible doesn't mean they're religious, or doesn't make them a Christian, right?
That's not the question I asked you though. I'm asking you if you believe it's a religious doctrine. Patriot, you're muted.
Sorry, I was muted.
You muted yourself, yeah. So the reason I asked that question is because, do you go to church?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what happens in what do they reference in Christian churches, Catholic churches? What do they use for their teachings when they're sermons, etc.?
Yeah, a Bible. I'm not denying that.
Right. So then should a Bible, which then becomes, so then if we pull on that thread, it becomes a religious text, right? Not just a historical text?
Yeah, it is a religious text.
Okay.
What I'm denying is that it's a doctrine itself.
Well, it's a religious text, therefore it shouldn't be taught in a public school, should it?
Well, I mean, isn't like the Iliad, doesn't the Odyssey, talk about a different religion as well?
No, but that's not a religious text. Those are stories, right? So the foundation, right? So is the Bible the Word of God in the mind of Christians?
What was that?
Is the Bible the Word of God in the minds of Christians?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, so therefore it's a religious text, right?
Yeah, I'm not denying it's a religious text.
Okay, therefore it shouldn't be taught in a public school then, correct?
No, not necessarily. I think it should be taught. I don't think religion or Christianity itself should be pushed on any students, but I think yeah, we should learn about not only just the Bible. I think we should learn about the major religions in the world, as well as the Torah, the Quran. I think we should learn all of those because they are religious texts, like you said. They are also historical texts in there. They have been obviously talked about by other historians during that time, and like Jesus himself was a historical figure. He did exist.
But if you're teaching, that's debatable. That's debatable.
No, Jesus did exist. I mean, historians who weren't religious and were Christian.
That's debatable, though. Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
but no, Jesus existing is not debatable.
No. So okay, is
the general consensus did exist.
No, it's the general consensus among Christians. Okay, and then people who believe in I'm not done. Thank you. It's.
Are you saying his non-Christian historians don't confirm his existence?
I'm not done talking. Thank you.
Appreciate you interrupted me.
Well, actually, I'm responding to something that you said.
Historians confirmed it, not just
Patriot.
right?
Take a breath, bro. Take a breath. Thank you.
You're just upset because you realize you're wrong.
No, okay, I'm asking questions. I have not said anything to be wrong about. I'm asking questions. So, as a Christian, obviously, you believe that Jesus existed. Do you believe that Christ rose from the dead?
Yeah, as a Christian, I believe that. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's debatable. That's the part that's debatable. But the fact that he existed is not debatable.
Isn't that the entire basis for your faith, though?
For Christianity, yeah, as a religion, yes.
So do you believe that Christ rose from the dead?
Yeah, I told you that. I said yes. That as a Christian, as a religious person, yes.
Okay, so then the Bible.
But that's the part that you could say that's debatable for you, right? As a non-Christian, you can say that's the.
No, well, so again, I want to go back to the claim about we should not be teaching the Bible in school because you, as a Christian, believe that Christ rose from the dead. Therefore, it would be a religious doctrine. Therefore, it shouldn't be taught in school because of the separation of church and state and public schools, and because the United States is not a Christian nation. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that just their Bible should be taught. Like I said, I think all the major religions should be taught in school, and I think they are.
I don't think any of them should be. Not in public school.
That's fine. That's fine. But the reason I think it is like I said, historians agreed, not just Christian historians, not just Christian texts. Historians have agreed that Jesus did exist.
No,
obviously,
that's not true, though.
It required.
That's not true. There are some.
That's not true.
Patriot. There are some historians, not all. It's debatable. Okay, it's debatable. The stories change. The gospel states change. They were written in stages. They've been reinterpreted many, many times. So it's not. I mean, you have your opinion on that, right? You don't have proof of that. You have an opinion, and I respect your faith. That's up to you to believe. But there's no definitive explanation of Christ ever existing. Now, do I believe a brown-skinned socialist walked the earth at that particular time? Sure, no doubt about it. But do I believe he was the Son of God? Do I believe?
And his name was Jesus from Nazareth.
Again, sir, you're the one that's so what is your evidence? What is your evidence? And you have a lot of background noise. I don't know what's going on there, but could you find a spot where
I can hear. I'll put on my headphones so you don't hear background noise. Like I said, and I'll pull up the specific historians, multiple historians.
So name one.
Not Christians.
Name one.
Yeah, I will. Like I said, I'm pulling them up for you. But multiple historians have confirmed his existence. Obviously not just Christianity, but here's some examples. One sec. Okay, so here's a historian. His name is Flavius Josephus.
Wait a minute. Flavius Josephus. From what era?
Non-Christian. From 93 to 94 CE.
Okay. So think about, first of all, think about that time.
He mentions Jesus.
Mentions someone, right?
It says James, the brother of Jesus.
Bro, you got a ton of background. I don't know what's going on, but you've got so much background noise. It's really annoying. Please stop, okay? Please stop. That's just really, really annoying. I want to have the conversation with you, but I can't tolerate that. It's fucking nuts. And again, yeah, I was just going to say that according to this, that's about 60 years after what the gospel references of when Jesus allegedly walked the earth. I don't think that would be historical proof. Blue, I'm not trying to run from anything. I just want to have a conversation. Blue, you can listen next if you want. You can jump in the box. Feel free. So don't you find it interesting though? So this is the thing, Patriot. You've admitted. I appreciate you admitting that you're a Christian, that you believe you in your faith believe that Jesus resurrected and rose from the dead, et cetera, et cetera. I don't believe that. Okay, I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in your God. In fact, I just believe in one less God than you do. Quite frankly, that's
fine.
That's
but believing he didn't exist is goofy.
Well, it's not.
Historians
admit some historians, other historians believe that he didn't. So how do we then draw the line? See, the problem is that you, because of your faith, you're convinced that he did. So of course that would be what's referred to as confirmation bias, right?
No, so I'm not basing it on my beliefs. Like I said,
it
requires faith. What requires faith is to believe that he rose from the dead, because no other human can do that. What doesn't require faith is that he existed, because we have historical documentation that he existed. That's not Christian.
We don't, though.
That's not religious.
But we don't.
We do, though. I just told you.
No,
there's multiple. Here's more.
No, wait.
Roman, Pliny the Younger, Suetonius, a biographer.
Patriot.
Oh, you don't want these? You don't want these?
No, I don't want you to ramble. I don't like monologuing. What you're providing me.
Fact check these.
Patriot.
Are names of historians.
Patriot, please listen. Okay, thank you. What we don't do here is just because you have a belief. So let's unpack this for a second. So your belief,
not based on a belief. It's a historian.
Patriot, please stop. Thank you.
You're on the recorded history.
Patriot.
Please stop telling you facts. What do you want me to stop doing?
Patriot, I want to have the conversation, bro. Okay, I don't want to be interrupted when I'm talking.
Can you address what I said then?
I'm trying.
Address the fact that historians.
I'm trying to, but you have to.
Biographers.
You have to control yourself. Okay, you've got to learn how to control yourself. Those are not facts. What you just described are people who support your confirmation bias. Because I would imagine.
They're not Christian.
Sir, once again, I want to have the conversation with you, but I'm not going to do it if you're just going to continue to ramble. So can you engage in a conversation like an adult? Stop interrupting me, okay? I don't need your interjections.
You're being disingenuous. You know these aren't Christians.
No,
you know these are historians. They have no reason to confirm
I'm not.
anything. They have no confirmation bias.
Patriot. So again, last chance. If you interject or interrupt again, I'm just going to move on to somebody else.
You want to run from the conversation?
No,
go ahead. I'll let you monologue for as long as you want. I'm not going to let you run.
I want to have a conversation. Okay, thank you. So your faith is based on the fact that in your opinion, which is subjective, in your opinion, Jesus existed because your faith would crumble because your faith requires you to believe that Christ rose from the dead. So don't you think because you're influenced so heavily by your faith, your belief that Christ rose from the dead, don't you think it would make sense that you would then allow yourself to be convinced that Jesus was real and in fact walked the earth?
No, for the same reason I believe Abraham Lincoln existed, for the same reason I believe Nefertiti existed, because not because I have a confirmation bias, it's because I believe historical texts. If Jesus was only mentioned in the Bible, I would agree with you. I'd be like, you're right. The only proof of him is in this religious text, and they're the only people who talk about him. But if the Romans who weren't Christian, if Jewish people who weren't Christian, if Muslims at that time also recorded his existence, how do you explain that? How do you explain the Romans that weren't Christian that mention his existence?
I'm just reading something the name that you gave me. Hang on a second.
I didn't think you'd address that.
I literally just looked at something. Give me a break, man. Give me a second. Hold on. Flavius Josephus was a first-century Jewish historian who provided external information on some people and events found in the New Testament. Josephus was a general in Galilee, which is where Jesus ministered, and people who knew him still lived. He dwelled. Hang on a second. I'm just looking this up. Where Jesus ministered and people who knew him still lived. He dwelled near Jesus' hometown of Nazareth for a long time and kept contact with groups such as the Sanhedrin and the Renus II, who were involved in trials of Jesus and his brother James. His knowledge of Galilee was notable since he wrote much about religion and its inhabitants in his autobiography, The Life of Flavius Josephus, which was an appendix to the Antiquities of the Jews, where the references to Jesus are located. The extent of manuscripts of Josephus' book of Antiquities of the Jews, written in AD 93 to 94, contain 2 references to Jesus of Nazareth and 1 reference to John the Baptist. I'm not debating the fact that you have these references. What I'm stating is you claim that Jesus was the Son of God because your entire faith is based around that. So let's unpack that for a second. Your faith, again, would crumble if you did not, if, for example, you don't believe that Christ rose from the dead. Right? So therefore, then it would track that, of course, in your mind, obviously, Jesus, the Son of God, existed. Do you believe that?
Yeah, because I'm a Christian, right?
That, yes, but can two things be can 2 things be true? So can Jesus be the Son of God and also have died for your sins and then resurrected?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you would have to then prove, first of all, that he rose from the dead. That's a faith.
That's the faith part, yeah.
Right. So then for those of us who sort of look at this entire, philosophy around Abrahamic religions and the existence of Christ, I am not sitting here saying that Jesus, the person, did not exist. But to make the stretch that same person who walked the earth at that particular time was also the Son of God and then rose from the dead, that's a stretch that I don't believe, because faith, religion itself, is subjective.
Yeah, that's not what I was debating. What I was simply telling you is that he did exist, he did walk the earth, and that's what you were denying. You said that wasn't the case.
That's your claim.
Oh, you're interrupting now.
That's my show. That's your claim, though. You're making a definitive claim. You're stating that he did, in fact.
Backed up by facts and sources. Yeah.
Those are not
Flavius
facts.
Joseph,
No, those are opinions. Those are not facts. Those are not facts, man. They're not facts.
Really? So hold on, okay.
Well, because
you
tried to compare it to Abraham Lincoln.
Why is it not a fact?
You tried to compare it to Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, a historical figure. It's the same thing.
No, you tried to compare it to Abraham Lincoln. You said, well,
yeah. How do you know Abraham Lincoln existed?
How do we know? How do we know Abraham Lincoln? How do we know?
Yeah.
How do we know? Tell me how we know. Tell me how we know.
Documentation, because we have historians, correct?
From 120 years ago, 140 years ago.
We have historians, correct?
We have.
How do we know there was cavemen?
Do we?
How do we know there was Egyptians? How do we know there was Mayans? How do we know there was Aztecs?
That's not the stretch, man. Wait a minute. That's not the stretch. The stretch is
so the Roman senator,
Patriot. Hold on.
A Roman official who recorded
Patriot. That's not the stretch. The stretch that you are making is this person that you claim existed is also the Son of God, and then died
That's
for
not what I'm trying to convince you of.
You're not convincing me of anything.
He existed.
Okay, but
I'm saying he existed.
Explain to me.
Yes
Wait,
or no?
I don't believe so. Explain to me.
Why not?
I'm telling you. Explain to me because it's really convenient to support your faith. It's really, really convenient to support your faith.
I agree with you. If a Christian was agreeing with me, but it's not a Christian.
Well, again,
I'm mentioning you multiple non-Christians, Roman senators, Jewish, Muslim historians that mention the existence of someone named Jesus at that time, and you're denying that because I guess it challenges your belief system.
It doesn't. No,
and maybe it makes you a little bit scared.
It doesn't challenge
I think it scares you.
No, it doesn't challenge my belief system because
because you're like if in your head you're like if a guy named Jesus truly existed, he could have been the Son of God.
No,
because he did exist.
No,
now this is scaring you a little bit.
It's not, Patriot. It's not. You can calm down, bro. This is the problem because you're not listening.
Wait, so explain. How did the Roman governor, the Roman senator?
I am trying to explain.
They're not Christian.
You have not.
What confirmation bias? Your only argument is confirmation bias. You're like, you believe that because you're Christian.
Patriot.
Yeah, but these aren't Christians.
Patriot, you have to control yourself. Thank you.
You're coping. I'm sorry.
I'm not coping. I'm asking you to explain to me. This is what I'm asking you to convince me of this. Convince me of this. Your religion would not exist unless you could stop accepting the fact that someone, in your words, an historical figure named Jesus Christ was the Son of God, immaculate conception, the Son of God, and died for your sins, resurrected, which is the entire basis of your faith. Convince me that happened.
That wasn't my argument. Now you're strawmanning.
I'm not strawmanning. That's the argument. No.
Well, can you? We'll move on. Can you concede that he did exist?
No.
And historians back that up.
No.
Why not?
Great question, Mishi. Is Zeus?
Why do you have faith that he didn't exist? It requires faith.
No.
To believe he didn't exist.
No, it does not.
You're going against.
No, it does not.
Historians. You're going against Muslims and Jews.
It does not. My God, dude. Listen.
Holy fuck, dude. You're in denial.
No.
You're straight denial.
No.
A guy named Jesus Christ existed and walked the earth. You can cry, but
you need to stop yelling. The only person.
That requires faith.
Patriot.
But he existed. I'm sorry to tell you.
The only person up. If you unmute again, I'm just going to move on. I want to have the conversation, bro. You are doing this intentionally now so that you get kicked, and then you can go into your little Discord and say that you cooked someone. I want to have an adult conversation. I am asking you to explain the connection in your brain. You have convinced yourself that Jesus existed and walked the earth because without that belief, your religion would fall on its face. Because that same person that you claim to have walked the earth was also conceived immaculately, died for your sins, was resurrected, the basis of your religion. Connect those dots for me, please.
Yeah, that's not true because there are people that believe he walked the earth.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. I'm asking you to explain that.
Want me to give you faith? How am I supposed to give you faith?
You just proved my point. Your entire thing is based on faith. That's it. It's based on faith.
Yeah, no one's denying that. You're denying the fact that he existed.
No,
and
I'm
the fact
just,
that people that don't have faith.
What I'm denying
people who don't have faith, who aren't Christian, believe he existed.
What I'm denying is that Jesus Christ, whether or not he walked the earth, was not the Son of God, was not conceived immaculately, did not die for your sins, and was not resurrected. That's what I'm claiming.
Sure, you can say that's debatable that he resurrected, was the Son of God. Yeah, but he existed.
That's your faith, though.
That's not you. No, because there's people with no faith that believe he existed as well. Historians that aren't Christian.
But you believe
without faith.
But Patriot. But we're talking about.
We're not talking about me though.
No, we are talking about you because I'm talking.
Yeah, but I base it on historians.
No, you base it on your faith.
I can be non-Christian,
but you're not. But
even if I wasn't Christian now, I still believe he existed.
But you are a Christian.
Even if I wasn't Christian, I still believe he existed.
But you are.
I wouldn't be that ignorant. I wouldn't be that.
But you are a Christian though. You see, this.
I haven't always been a Christian, though.
But you are now. So I asked you the question: do you believe? Yeah,
but before I was, I still believe he existed.
Patriot, do you believe that Jesus died for your sins and was?
I already answered that question.
So the answer is yes. So then, therefore, your belief.
But before I believed that, I still believe he existed.
Okay, but
before I was a Christian,
that's convenient for you. That's convenient. That's convenient for you to say.
How is that? That's convenient for you to believe he didn't exist. That's convenient for you to believe he didn't exist, even though historians tell you he did.
No,
it's convenient for you to believe he doesn't exist because you're terrified.
What would I be terrified of?
I don't know. I don't know why it scares you to believe he exists. Why are you denying historical
you
proof?
keep saying I'm terrified. Why? What am I terrified of?
Someone asked, what physical proof? We have the Pilot Stone.
Patriot,
we have James.
Please ignore the chat for a second, Patriot. I'm asking you what you said. I'm terrified. What am I terrified of?
I don't know. That's something you have to dissect internally. Why you'd be denying? Why would you deny facts?
You said I'm terrified. I would like you to tell me why you think I'm terrified. Of what?
I think it's because you're in denial. I think because you realize that you're of your worldview. I think you realize that you've been wrong your entire. I'm trying to tell you, but you're getting really upset now and interrupting. I think you've realized that
you're the one screaming.
Okay.
So explain. You still haven't explained.
Talking at a perfectly normal.
You haven't explained to me.
You're interrupting,
sir.
Because you're interrupting.
You haven't
let me even start.
Because I've asked you a simple question.
You're upset.
No, I'm not upset. I'm asking you a simple question.
Because you realize he existed.
No, that's your belief set. You've not yet explained to me. So do you
Why
believe?
do non-Christians believe that?
Patriot, I'm talking about you.
Why do non-Christians believe
you're
that Jesus
the one?
Existed, then?
Patriot, again.
He doesn't want to answer that. He's terrified.
Can't stop interrupting me.
How
old are you, by the way?
28.
So can you stop interrupting, please? Let's try this again, one more time, okay? What I'm asking,
I let you monologue, and then you don't even let me
Patriot,
speak.
it's my life, okay?
You're acting like a child. Yeah, that's childlike behavior.
No, I'm asking you.
It's my toy.
Well, you're the one that can't stop interrupting. You're the one that can't control yourself. So I'm asking you.
You're in denial of historical facts.
I want you to explain something to me. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time. This is what I want you to explain. Do you believe? Not other people, not other historians, no one else. I'm asking Patriot, from me to you. Do you believe that Jesus was immaculately conceived?
Yep.
Okay. So you believe that Jesus was immaculately conceived, and therefore, after that immaculate conception, he walked the earth.
Yep, that's confirmed through historical text. The walking the earth part, not the immaculate conception.
That's your faith. So if he wasn't, so think about this.
That part's faith.
Wait, hold on. Think about that.
The virgin birth is faith, but not him walking the earth.
What? But I asked you the question. I asked you what you believe.
Get the difference?
Patriot, you've got to stop talking. Okay. This is now you're afraid.
The difference,
now you're
one
afraid.
Is based on faith.
Now you're afraid
because based on facts.
Once again, you're afraid now because Mods, can you just keep him muted so I can get through this conversation, please? Thank you. Listen, your belief set. So now Jesus in your world, Jesus existed. Jesus walked the earth in your world after he was immaculately conceived, the Son of God. So that entire thing, his existence in your world, is based on your faith that he was immaculately conceived. I call bullshit.
Well, that's wrong.
Sure,
it
you can say
based on the Pilot Stone, historical text.
No, but sir, you're the one that said he was immaculately conceived.
Yeah, that part is based on faith.
Well, then, but that's your belief.
But to deny he existed is just ignorant.
But that's your belief set.
Yeah, that's fine.
Was there? Yeah, but by the way, was there video of that?
No, I don't think they had cameras back then.
Oh, so if we didn't see it, did it happen?
They're probably still.
If we didn't see it, did it happen? Did dinosaurs? Yeah, good point. You can unmute him for a second. Did dinosaurs exist?
I guess not. No pictures.
I'm asking. So
there's these guys named historians that have books that say I don't know, dude.
Did dinosaurs exist?
I think it's
Patriot. Did dinosaurs? Okay, you can let them go, Mods. That's cool.
I think it's faith based.
I'm asking you. Did they exist?
Yeah, historians say so, but I don't know, bro. Me and you don't believe historians.
I'm asking you. Did dinosaurs exist?
Well, you're convincing me not to believe historians, so probably not.
I'm
thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking no.
So,
I'm thinking no, because you're making me think historians are all wrong now.
I'm asking you. I'm not talking about historians. So you don't think they existed?
Yeah, I'm thinking no because historians are wrong. So everything I've read in books is wrong.
Okay, so then everything that you've read in your books is wrong too. Then, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Historians, like, I guess I can only go off religious texts, not historians or like facts anymore.
Well, I mean,
I guess it's all just faith.
we're unpacking your logic. So I just want to level.
It's all just faith.
No, sir.
Like,
Well,
even
sir,
if a
it is
historian
faith.
said it, it's not true.
But there's proof of
right?
dinosaurs, right? We have evidence of that, right?
Well, we have this like proof, like this rock written in stone, right? Like this.
We have fossils.
Like stone block with Latin inscription.
We do.
Where they mention Jesus. Yeah, you didn't know that?
We have fossils too, don't we?
I don't know. I've never seen one with a camera.
Oh, you've never seen a fossil?
No. But have you ever seen the limestone block with Jesus written in it? With the story of Jesus?
So I just want to go back. I want to go back to the point that I was making before, and I think it destroys your
Why
entire.
would there be like a really old rock?
Now you can be
with,
muted
like, his
again.
name written in
Okay,
it?
now you can be muted again. So again, just to level set, and I know some people want to get at you here, and I'm going to let them up in a second, but I just want to make sure that we're understanding this.
Do you think the Romans crucified someone named Jesus?
You believe.
Do you think the Romans crucified?
You believe. Thank you, RJ. You believe that Jesus Christ was immaculately conceived, therefore the Son of God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Stop right there. Stop right there.
No, I don't believe
stop,
I know.
Stop. Okay. Stop. So that's what you believe.
I don't believe I know.
Once again, man, this is your last chance. Okay. So you believe that Jesus Christ existed, but the only way he would have existed, because you've told us that he was immaculately conceived, the Son of God. Okay. That's a wild take to begin with. Then, because in your faith, which you believe, you said you believe, he walked the earth after being immaculately conceived, died for his sins, was crucified, then was reborn, then was resurrected, and that's the basis for your religion. That is your belief set. That's not evidentiary. That is your belief set. Because in your worldview, Jesus would not have existed without immaculate conception. Plain and simple. That is your belief set. That is the worldview that you have. Hi, Mishi. How are you?
Good.
You are correct.
Okay, so Patriot,
That's not evidence.
as someone who went to Greece recently, for 1,500 years, people believed that Zeus, Medusa, all of these gods, Poseidon, existed. They built temples to them. Okay, and if you were to ask historians over that 1,500 years, they would have written that they were real and it was true. So please tell me, were they correct or not?
No, because they're not talking about a physical human being that walked the earth, that, for example, was crucified.
Okay, I'm
was
sorry,
judged.
God.
Hold on. I let you finish. I let you finish.
Doesn't work that way,
Well, they
Patriot.
believed.
I let you finish, ma'am.
Actually, they
So
believed
Jesus was
Medusa.
actually
No,
mentioned
they
by
believed-
Roman
no,
governors, Roman
They believed Medusa
Roman
existed.
senators.
They believed Medusa existed. They believed Medusa had snakes in her head, and that she turned. So they actually created all this about her. Okay, there's actually there's so much in Greek life. There's texts and there's temples that they built for them. Like they spent all their time and money and gold and goods because they believed all of this to be true. They sacrificed people because they believed all of this to be true. Yeah, Hercules, etc. So were they right or wrong, even though people wrote about it? Right? Were they right or wrong?
Yeah, were they writing in like a government sense? Like, for example,
Yes.
when you
Yes.
hold on, ma'am,
Yes.
you are so quick to interrupt, even though you're wrong. That's crazy.
Hey, Patriot,
crazy
that's your
work.
last chance.
And
If you speak, listen, bro.
Oh no,
listen,
I'm gonna lose this amazing debate.
Listen, if you speak, you can
I
say
already
whenever.
cooked the fuck out of you, bud.
Right.
It's
Okay.
okay. I already
Sure.
cooked the fuck
Awesome.
out of you.
See, I told you. That's
So
your
Flavius
game.
He's
Josephus,
actually
the pilot
projecting.
Listen.
He's projecting
Yeah, he
like
is.
crazy right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. He really is.
He's projecting.
So,
like
so Patriot, you can say whatever you want to me, but if you go at the women that are on my panel in particular, then it's game over. So that's your last warning. Understood?
Yeah, I'm
I think women are equal. I treat them like men. So
Okay,
if you
so
don't, then you're
fantastic.
probably
You can leave. Goodbye.
Well, I mean, you could have kept him, but
Well, no, it's okay.
in reality,
I have my own rules about that shit. Hi, by the way.
In reality, hi, friend. For 1,500 years, it was people believed this, and they wrote about it, and that was what they believed to be true. That was their rule of law. And so it would be the same for what he is saying today.
Yeah, I just think the part, and it's interesting. I don't think he even realized this, but his entire evidence is that he believed that in an immaculate conception And because of immaculate conception, that is why Jesus in his mind walked the earth. And then as the Son of God, died for his sins, was crucified, resurrected, the entire basis of his religion. So the entire thing is based on faith and not evidence.
Correct. So they have no evidence there was immaculate conception. Listen, I don't know. Maybe Mary and Joseph had a little and they didn't want anyone to know, and they made up this whole story. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? I'm not sure if you heard the sound I played earlier. Based on the new MAGA dynamic, if Mary and Joseph had any sex other than reproduction, it would be considered gay sex. That's their new thing now.
Yes, I actually have seen that. That's right. Like what I mean, I'm a 55-year-old woman who can't procreate, so sorry,
no
honey.
more sex for you. That's it. No more.
No, yeah, we're done. We're done. So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Wow.
So ridiculous.
Wow.
It's so silly.
Anything else that you'd like to add after that?
No. It's just it's sad that we're at this place. I will say this. I mean, I come from the place being raised Catholic. I taught CCD. I used to, lecture at church. And do I believe a man named Jesus existed? I do.
Sure.
I mean, from my perspective, I do. Kind of more in the Jewish faith, that I think he probably was somebody who probably tried to do good things, or maybe not. But either way, I think that he existed in history. Whether or not he was the Son of God or any of that, that I'm not so sure of. But I think he probably was a historical figure that some people followed.
Yeah. So this is the problem. Do I believe that someone named Jesus, because it was a pretty common name at that time, existed and did good things to help the poor? Absolutely. But the person that our previous guest Patriot was describing, that Jesus, the Son of God, conceived through immaculate conception, resurrected, etc., that I do not believe. There's a difference.
I don't believe that either.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that either. I think that we have things that were exaggerated, just the same way that people exaggerated Zeus, Medusa, etc. So I mean, where there are probably folklore, like things like that, there probably was a man who was out there, trying to, cure things, whether he could or couldn't. I don't know. Not too unlike a Christian pastor today.
And he hung out with the sinners and the saints, Yeah. So
yeah. But I mean, not in the way that they wanted. So I'm gonna agree with you, Steve. Not in the way that they define him.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay, so not in the way that they define him. Was there somebody who was who's like, name a reverend today?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say,
Al Sharpton. Sure.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put him in that category where they just ran wild. Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, right? Any of these, like a Charlie Kirk type character, where they made him bigger than life, even though he was just a podcaster.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you for jumping in. Nice to see you again. I appreciate
thanks for having me.
You got it. See you later.
Take care.
All right. Bye. Interesting. And again, I see other people tripping in here. I would like you guys also to explain to me, because when presented with the evidence, you notice how the conversation shifted. When presented with the evidence about your belief set is that Jesus, in his mind, Jesus Christ, this person that he claimed walked the earth, was born via immaculate conception, lived a life, walked the earth, was crucified, resurrected. Therefore, that's the basis of your faith. That's all faith. That's not evidence. That's all faith. So, but thank you. Thank you for the conversation. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Not at all. But again, the question is, teach sex ed in school and not the Bible. And I think some of the conversations we've had this evening would prove that we certainly should be teaching sex ed more. Hello, Jared. I saw you commenting in the chat as well. Welcome in.
Yeah, I came up because her logic was flawed. She said that, people wrote about Greek gods. Yeah, because they believed in them.
Cool.
Why would people write about?
So are you a Christian? Are you a Christian?
Dude, it's the same guy. I was just up here.
Then why are you here?
You're a faggot.
Oh, how Christian of you. How Christian of you. How Christian of you, Jared. How very, very Christian of you. Wow, that is so on brand. But just friends, I just want you all to know that he cooked me. I just want you all to know that he absolutely cooked me. I'm the skin is just crawling off me now. I'm overdone. I've been in the oven for too long. Wow, that was just so refreshing. I'm so grateful that you did that. That was so unbelievably on brand. Hi, Jen.
Hi. And the male loneliness continues. I would be so far from that dude. Could you imagine being on a date with that guy? I'd stick myself in the eye with a fork.
Yeah. It's interesting though, right? I mean, it's interesting. You're trying to come up here to justify your belief set. Would Jesus say something like that? Are you so emotionally inept and so immature that you couldn't explain to me why you separate how you could possibly separate evidence from your faith when you couldn't do it, and then your response was to call me the F slur? Wow. Pretty wild. Pretty wild.
But I think what's important is how quickly he pivoted away from Christianity being taught in schools and the Bible being read in schools, because that was never a topic that he was able to bring up, right? So, like, why me as a Jewish woman with Jewish child should my son be subjected to Christian studies in a society where we have no official religion and freedom of religion? Why should Muslim children, Buddhist children, atheist children be subjected to Bible studies if they're receiving federal funding?
Correct.
That's a violation of your First Amendment rights.
Agreed.
But he doesn't probably believe in that. He thinks his religion is dominant and superior, which is the reason why people don't like you, Jared.
Don't be a Jared. JBJ, welcome back. How are you?
Bill and Jared. It's
Yes.
just bad
Hello.
combo.
Hi.
I do find it interesting that he pivoted to the point where he was like, well, we should teach the major religions in school. So who are you going to be? Who's the neutral teacher that you're going to find to teach all 5,000 religions and beliefs equally? Because again, the government cannot support one religion over another. So the government can't say, oh, you're a major religion and you're a minor religion. You don't count. Like, let's be so real here. All religious beliefs have to be treated exactly the same. And they forget about that.
Yeah.
Also, the stone he was talking about never mentioned Jesus. So that really irked me. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think the part that really sort of forced his head to kind of explode a little bit, which is when he got angry and then dropped the F slur, was try to explain that you believe that Jesus was conceived through immaculate conception. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but that's the part that I think was just fascinating to me. That you have to believe that for your faith to exist. So therefore, the person that he claimed walked the earth, the Jesus Christ figure that he claimed walked the earth, would that have been conceived through immaculate conception, and that's just nonsense. Because without that, your entire faith does not exist. Shane.
Was there an
and we saw
immaculate
this
pelvic
with-
exam to
Right.
find out if
Oh
she
my
was?
God.
It was. I'm just
Absolutely
wondering if
not.
there was an immaculate pelvic exam to prove the immaculate conception.
But we do see this when we're also talking to historians about Hercules. There is evidence that Hercules could be an amalgamation of a bunch of different heroic like people that may have actually existed. But no one ever says this is evidence that Hercules, the supernatural son of a god, actually existed. So I think that's a little different there. They're not able to draw that line.
I would agree. Shane, you want to request up, friend? How are you?
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect the last 2 minutes of conversation, but I'm gonna stick with it. So I was gonna say if you wanted a perfect teacher that was gonna teach all religions in school, you'd pick a teacher who is a practicer of the Satanic Temple, because if you've ever read our tenets, you would understand that we believe that all people are special. Especially one of my favorites of the 7 tenets is one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. Which means that you are yourself. You are yourself and you know yourself the best. And also, beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. That one in particular is tenet number 5. Number 3 is the one about one's body. But if you ever wanted a perfect person, you would get an ex-Christian turned ordained minister of the Satanic Temple to teach religion. Because we've literally dissected and broken it down in so many different ways.
Are you?
I was fascinated.
Are you interviewing for a job, Shane? Are you interviewing for a job?
I mean, I went to college. My main college degree is I have a bachelor's degree in English literature. I took 4 years of actual English lit. I did proses and sonnets and broke down Chaucer and all of that stuff. I was meant to be an English teacher. I could have been your high school English teacher.
That was my plan too.
And lo and behold, I put myself through college by literally doing handyman jobs found out I can make more money. I can make more money doing this stuff.
Ah, that's cool. Thank you, Ari. That's awesome.
So no, I don't want a job as a teacher. I could be a teacher, but I don't want a job as a teacher. But I was fascinated by that guy because he was stuck just on the Immaculate Conception. He's like, it's a miracle that happened and I can't get past that. And it's like, there's 967 other pages in the book that page is on. And you didn't bother to think any of the other stuff was immaculate? Like magical?
Well,
you didn't think like
just got
a dude parting the Red Sea?
We just got this question from Michelle. Since we believe women, do we believe that Mary was immaculately impregnated? Right? I mean, no. No. She was, 13? We believe that she was raped.
Right, but that's the inherent misogyny in that in order for them to have a godlike son of God, and there's a theory that this changed between the pagans worshiping the sun god to the Christians worshiping the son of God. And so they needed a god, but it couldn't be a god that was conceived through sex, because sex has already been turned dirty. So they had to have immaculate conception, and that completely erases the woman. Like,
Shane, I'm going to drop you down, bro.
We are nothing.
Thanks for jumping in, brother. Appreciate you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just that Christianity absolutely supports the idea that women are nothing once you are no longer a virgin. You are, you have no value in this world. And for those who want to read more, Jessica Valente wrote a wonderful book called The Purity Myth. And she broke down this, 15, 20 years ago now. I think that book is getting pretty old. So this is not a new problem, but it's continuous.
Thank you for your perspective and jumping in. I really appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, take care.
See you later. Bye. Fascinating conversation. Just. I mean, it's so funny. Did you notice, by the way, this wasn't lost on me. We didn't really get much of a chance to get into it, but every historian he referenced were, of course, men retelling a story of the Gospels told by men, references to rape and incest and pedophilia, etc., all perpetrated by men. Interesting. Interesting how that works.
It's all men.
It's all fucking men. It's all men.
I mean, all I can say is that, like, I am I would be a better Jew if I practiced more, but I will say I was bat mitzvahed, I was confirmed, I did the whole shebang, And we definitely believe that Jesus was a human being. We just don't believe that Mary was a virgin and that he was the son of God. I think he was an incredible dude. He said some really cool things that were meaningful at the time, but my belief is not that he was the son of God. And that's my personal belief. There is no evidence that proves that that is true. Nobody did a pelvic exam. Nobody watched it. Nobody did any of that. It's not possible to prove that she was a virgin and all of that stuff. So, the whole Abraham Lincoln, are you aware that we have images of Abraham Lincoln? We have his DNA on the flag that he was wrapped in.
Yeah.
There were people alive that saw him, witnessed him, and they were interviewed when cameras and film first came out. That is the most ridiculous argument ever.
I know. Hi, Bree. How are you? Bree, are you there? Bree La Diosa? I think there might have been an accidental request. It's interesting because I think the topics are appropriate. We could even ask why are men so emotional? That's a different conversation. But if we're talking about, teaching sex ed in school, the sound that we played tonight, we've discussed this strange phenomenon that pleasure is now a bad thing, even if it's used for reproductive purposes. Weird. And then that, of course, leads into the male loneliness epidemic, which is because of men and their faith. The misogyny and the patriarchy has convinced them that men are protectors. And then we ask the question, who are men protecting people from? And the answer is men. Okay. And then to sum it all up, why can't men be accountable for their bullshit? I'm one of them. I accept that as well. That's the argument. Why the fuck are we not accountable as a group?
Well, I think that the whole thing goes back to men want to control women, right? So you can't. Yeah, it's just yeah, Dad, it is. I remember my mother being, telling me there was a time when, and I think it's coming back with this whole body count topic, right? Your body count, because if you have an active sex life, that makes you, promiscuous, and you're teaching women, that little girls, that pleasure is bad and you should only be doing it for this reason, meaning that they can control who that they have relations with, but a man does it and it's okay, right? Like a man can have, all the partners he wants, but a woman can't. And it's like it goes back to what's good for me is not for thee, and it's just disgusting. And I don't know, it's just awkwardly weird.
Let me get into some more of the topic, then more specifics around, as described within the male loneliness epidemic, as it talks about chronic loneliness as associated with poorer mental and physical health. Research has linked prolonged loneliness to increased risks of depression and anxiety, poor sleeps, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline in older adults, and then higher risks of premature mortality. It's important to note that loneliness is not simply being alone. A person can have many acquaintances and still feel lonely, while someone with a small social circle may feel well connected. Is it really a male issue? I found this from the New England Journal of Medicine, by the way. Is it really a male issue? Both men and women experience loneliness, but it can manifest differently. Some research suggests that men have fewer emotionally intimate friendships. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Men are generally less likely to seek professional mental health support, stigmatized. We have to talk about that as well. And then men may rely more heavily on a romantic partner for emotional support, making breakups, divorce, or widowhood particularly disruptive. That, I think, is the key. This part in particular, that men are generally less likely to seek professional mental health support. I'm a massive advocate, and our first guest of the night talked about this as well. I think oftentimes when men go to therapy, they go from a reactive perspective because they either need to, it might be during couples counseling. It could be part of a child custody situation where, listen, you need to go to a therapist. You need to show us the receipts you're going, so it becomes reactive. I advocate for proactive mental health approaches. And in particular, men may have fewer emotionally intimate friendships. I'm a big believer in emotional intimacy. I have many friends, of which I would count Jen and Michelle and others and many people in our community. the level of emotional intimacy I think to required to have healthy relationships is something that men are not willing to talk about, because men feel like the only, again, I've said this numerous times, the only emotions you're allowed to show publicly are anger and lust. Society tells them that, because anything else would not be considered masculine enough. True intimacy, from my perspective, is emotional intimacy. The ability to trust a partner so much that you can be at your worst. You can be vulnerable. You can be an absolute fucking mess. Let the tears flow. Let the fucking tears flow. That, to me, is how I would define emotional intimacy. Willingness to talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. But more importantly, willing to listen to others who've got shit on their mind so that you create this connection where your partner feels safe, you feel safe. I think that's emotional intimacy. And I wish more humans would strive for that, but men in particular. Seriously. Any comments on any of that, Jen?
Yeah, I think that for some reason, I think it's seen as a thing of weakness, or like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, to not talk about your feelings, to push them down, and to be aggressive is like to be manly. And we've talked about that before with other guests. And I think that it's not healthy, because if you keep repressing, you are gonna regress, and you're not gonna have meaningful relationships, and you're always going to have these issues with people. And it's not just women or a man. If you're a woman, it's everybody. You'll have trouble with work. You'll have trouble, with friends, everything. And so the ability to communicate your emotions is not only for your romantic life, it's for every part of life, to be able to appropriately communicate how you're feeling, thinking, or and want to express that.
John Doe 79, you said in the chat, and I really would like you to request up, because this comment is interesting. You said that's for your wife or significant other. It belongs in private. I think that's kind of the point that we're trying to get to, John. If you could request, because you don't have your account's private, so I can't send you an invite. So I'd like to ask you to please request and unpack that, because I'm really intrigued by that statement. And I would really like to get your perspective as to why you think you're not allowed to show emotion other than anger and lust to anyone else other than your wife or your significant other. Because I think there's a lot going on there. So please request up. I'd appreciate that. And Aaron, you should request up as well. There's a lot, gentlemen. There's a lot of you in the chat that I think you're falling. That's the reason we have some of these prompts, is because you're kind of falling into the. Okay, well, I'll be on for a while, John. Good for you. # girl dad, putting your daughter to bed. That's fantastic. Appreciate that. We'll be on for a little while longer. If you can give me a time frame, I'd appreciate that, because that would be an interesting conversation to have for sure. That's a script that we have to work through.
I was going to say that, one of the things that I've been working on with myself is the optical illusion that Hollywood and media paints of what relationships should be like, right? Like, we get this fantasy of like, oh, this is how some guy is supposed to love me, and they're all going to run up to me after I've left them, because I got into a fight and they just can't live without me, and they're going to take me to the Empire State Building and propose to me with this giant diamond ring, and like all of these things. And it was almost heartbreaking to realize that that's not reality. I know that sounds really immature, but I, as a child, really truly believed all of that. This is how it's supposed to be. And I can't imagine what men think on the other side. Like, this is how I'm supposed to act? Is this what I'm supposed to do?
Francis and # free Francis. Thank you, sexy bitch. This is Josephus. As an historian, is something of a puzzling question. On one hand, he's an eyewitness to many of these events, and in many cases, he's the only source we have for some very important events and stories. On the other hand, Josephus embellishes, as do most ancient historians. They tell the story, they create speeches for generals, even when they weren't there to hear them firsthand. And so sometimes we have to be careful with these ancient history writers like Josephus. Josephus is also interesting from another perspective, because he clearly embellishes the stories from his own experiences. Josephus himself had gone over to the Roman side at the end of the revolt. And so when we tell some of these stories, it's clear that he's also defending his position, defending his judgments, and his change. It's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. Oh, Kristen, you missed all the fun. We had some interesting conversations earlier. That was for sure. Um, what is this that I'm looking at now here? Hang on a second. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. Okay. I want to go back to the loneliness piece here. So we talked about, is it really a male issue that men have fewer emotionally intimate friendships? Men are generally less likely to seek professional mental health support. Men may rely more heavily on a romantic partner for emotional support, making breakups, divorce, or widowhood particularly disruptive. I think that's the point that's why I want to talk to John, because he stated that men should only be vulnerable emotionally with their intimate partner or spouse. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's how I interpreted what he stated. At the same time, many experts caution against framing loneliness as exclusively a men's problem. Young adults, older adults, caregivers, people with disabilities, and many other groups also experience high levels of loneliness. Male loneliness, in my opinion, though, is unique because it's created by men. Men are lonely because of men. What seems to help? Evidence-based approaches include regular participation in activities with repeated face-to-face contact, sports leagues, volunteering, hobby groups, classes, strengthening existing friendships through regular check-ins and shared activities, practicing greater emotional openness with trusted friends and family, limiting passive screen time if it crowds out in-person interaction, and then seeking therapy or support groups if loneliness is persistent or accompanied by depression or anxiety. And then it gets into this list of traits that generally describe masculinity. And I thought this was interesting because this is what we were trying to unpack the other night from people when we asked the question, like, what would be a trait? Remember that whole conversation? You were part of it.
Bill.
Yeah, you were part of it. Michelle was part of it. Jess was part of it. Krista was part of it. So a traditional trait, as defined by this study, says strength. A healthy expression of strength would be then protecting others and resilience. Once again, are men protectors? Even in this study, like we could poke holes in that. The unhealthy expression would be intimidation and aggression. And keep in mind, Bill said aggression was one of the traits that he would use to define masculinity. In fact, it's the first thing he said. Given a clean slate, that's the first thing he said when asked. Aggression. Aggression. So, and remember that conversation then shifted. Like if men didn't exist, women would fill that role and be aggressive. And we're like, the fuck? What? Another traditional trait, courage. A healthy expression would be facing fear despite risk. An unhealthy expression of courage could be considered recklessness. Confidence, healthy, self-assurance, unhealthy, arrogance. Independence, self-reliance, healthy. Refusing all help or not asking for help would be unhealthy. Leadership, responsibility, service. Unhealthy expressions would be dominance or control. Competitiveness, self-improvement, excellence would be healthy or considered healthy. Unhealthy would be winning at any cost. Traditional trait, again, describing what this study determined as to be traditional masculine traits: protectiveness, caring for others, safety. Yeah, I mean, I can accept that, like caring for others, making sure people are safe. I can live with that. But unhealthy would be assuming you are a protector or controlling others. That's the unhealthy part. Stoicism, remaining calm under pressure. Unhealthy would be suppressing all emotion. And then assertiveness, speaking honestly and respectfully, would be a healthy expression. And then unhealthy again would be aggression. It's wild.
See, I never really thought about the male loneliness epidemic until the insurgence of MAGA, right? Because
Sure.
honestly, Steve, like I know so many women that absolutely across the nation will refuse to date anybody that voted for or supports Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because there's so many red flags with that, right? Like, how can you vote for a man after he was found civilly liable of sexual assault? How can you do that? How can you continue to support a man that tells reporters quiet piggy? I mean, you absolutely must not either. You don't live in reality, and you absolutely don't care if your boy talks shit about women. Hence the reason you're not protectors and you're not holding your men accountable.
In this same study, men were asked traits that define masculinity. They said provider, protector, leader, warrior, craftsman, father. Women were asked the same question. Their responses were emotionally intelligent, empathetic, collaborative leadership, active fatherhood and participant, respect for others, and then willingness to seek help when needed. When asked the question about how women see masculinity, according to this study that I'm reading, and I'll post it in our Discord, those are the responses from women: emotionally intelligent, empathetic, collaborative leadership, active fatherhood who participates, respect for others, and then willingness to seek help when needed. And then men again: provider, protector, leader, warrior, craftsman, father. Pretty serious divide between those definitions. Or I should say, traits connected to that definition.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I'm so glad they didn't ask me, because I would have been like, you're outlier.
What would you say?
They'd be like, describe men.
What would you say?
Jerk, liars.
No, what would you say?
You
I think what they're asking for is how would you describe? That was the question. So views of masculinity. Men were asked what you view as masculine. Women were asked the same question. So what would your answer be then, Jen? You don't have to mean for whatever it is. I mean, I'm not asking you to agree with this. I'm just curious as to what you.
I don't even know anymore. I'm going to be really honest with you. I really can't even, I think about my son. My son is, brave. He's very brave. And he's emotionally intelligent. And that's what I see as what I think the world a woman would deserve, and in him, right? Like, he makes an excellent spouse because he has these traits. But I have given up with men in the world because it's just like, you all are, nothing of what I think you're the polar opposite of what my son is. And so hard to say, what is masculine? I don't know. I really would have to sit and think on that. I don't want to make an asshole of myself. I do it all the time anyways, but whatever.
No, you don't. And then it gets into this whole topic about toxic masculinity. It says toxic masculinity does not mean masculinity itself is toxic. So there's lots of this report that I don't agree with. I'm just reading the results. In psychology and sociology, the term refers to specific harmful norms that can become associated with masculine identity, such as believing men should never show vulnerability, equating manhood with dominance or violence, viewing asking for help as a weakness, treating empathy as unmanly, and then feeling entitled to control others. Many scholars emphasize that these are distortions of masculinity rather than masculinity itself.
I requested Justice up. I don't know if he just spelled justice wrong, but
yeah,
he says, I hate my patients. I don't even know where to go with that comment. You know what? I don't even care. You can think whatever the fuck you want. I know I don't hate my patients. Maybe you hate yourself. I don't know. Why don't you come up here and explain yourself, and then we can have a conversation about it. I know I don't hate my patients. He's now turned off his request because he's a big PUSSY, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know why you would not want to come up, Justice. I mean, you're in the chat, so you can obviously make your comments from the panel itself. That'd be interesting. Hello, honey. How are you? Honey? 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 I don't think so. Okay. So many scholars, again, emphasize that these distortions of masculinity rather than masculinity itself, there's not a consensus in general. Different fields emphasize different aspects. Evolutionary psychologists often highlight traits related to competition, protection, status, and risk-taking. Developmental psychologists focus on identity formation, emotional development, and healthy relationships. Sociologists examine how culture shapes expectations of men and how those expectations evolve over time. And anthropologists note the definitions of masculinity vary considerably across societies. Fascinating. I mean, but I don't agree. I don't agree with a lot of the results. It's funny because I would not answer the way that many men answered in that survey, and it doesn't seem like you would answer many of the way that women would answer in that survey. Right? Isn't that what we're saying? Yes. It is, Steve. That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that for responding to me. Everybody keep tapping, please. It'd be interesting. I'd really like to talk to John Doe. So, John, I'm not sure where you sit on that because I think it's a really it's a great opportunity to have a conversation. So, if
I want to speak to the jarhead.
yeah, I don't think he'll come up. Though. I think I've seen him in here before. Ow! I don't think he'll come up.
Oh.
But we can try. Let me just check in over here on stuff.
Yeah, he probably lacks the testicular fortitude because he ate too many crayons.
Probably. Hang on one second. Okay. I think it's the only other thing I had on that particular topic. Then we discovered, we talked about ultraverts earlier. We talked about the fear of the introverts thrive with a balance of time alone to rest, a small circle of deep connections, authentic conversations over small talk, environments that don't drain their emotional battery, and then freedom to decide when they want people and when they don't. And I think many of us agreed that we're mostly introverts or ultraverts. Okay. Deep breath. Great light back. You're not requesting. For some reason, bro, you might have timed out. You can come back up again. Kind of looking for ops right now. Would like to talk to you. Just give us a few minutes and see if we get anybody else who wants to come in here and talk to us. It might be worth it to do one more reset. Maybe. I'm not sure. What do you think, Jess? What do you think, Jen?
No. I want the oath breaker to come up here.
Ooh.
He says he's a USMC vet, and I said, and he's a fucking oath breaker. And come and explain yourself. He said, I'm an oath keeper.
Yeah. So just this is how this is going to work. You can't sit in the chat like a coward. You can either accept the invitation, request up, or we'll just mute you for the rest of the live. So that's, I mean, if you claim to be this patriot that you are, this alpha, then you should absolutely be willing to just respond. Seriously, we want to have a conversation because I really want to unpack your shit, but you can't do it from the chat. So you've got 30 seconds to either request up and enjoy and be part of the conversation, or we will just mute you for the live. It's your call. It's really simple. So the counter starts now. Our mods will watch it. We'll give you 30 seconds. You can either request up within 30 seconds and we can have a conversation, or you'll be muted for the live. It's really that simple. So I will grant you consent. Until then, you can just sit quietly. And if your time expires, then it's bye-bye. Then you can go night-night. You can put your Dr. Denton's on. You can get your warm milk and your cocoa and your goldfish snack and go night-night. Thank you. Appreciate you. I don't think there's anybody else.
It's crazy because he asked me if I'd been pew-pewed at. He doesn't know anything about me, right? He doesn't know anything.
He does not.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's really funny. He wants to make out as this big alpha male who's super brave and strong and burly. But in reality, he's so scared, he won't even request up on a panel. He's so scared.
Yeah,
he's so afraid.
So, Justice, you got 15 seconds left, bro. 15 seconds.
You didn't take it from me, buddy.
15
I'm not going to thank
left.
you for your service.
10 seconds now. 10 seconds, and Jen has her finger on the button, and you will be removed from the space. You will be deported. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a good day. Thanks for the engagement. So he's not here anymore. Let's do one more restart.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we can get any more folks to come in, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna do one more restart. Everybody come back in just a few minutes, and or just like a few seconds. I'll be right back.
You're telling me
And we're back. Yes. Thank you for being here, friends. Appreciate you guys. Come on back in. You know the drill. It does help. It really sort of does reset the algorithm a little bit. You know, what we've learned these past many weeks is just the we're left with incels. We're left with people who don't really want to have a conversation. They want to fart. They want to chirp from the chat. They don't really want to have a conversation, but we're trying. I mean, you guys know me. I want to be able to talk to people. That's why these topics are important, because men have got to do a lot of fucking work. I want to talk policy. I don't want to debate culture wars for sure. Certainly don't want to do that. And you know, if this just may not work, it may just be one night a week. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it on Saturdays. We're still trying to figure it out. We're always going to have our That's a Wrap show. We'll get back to the normal programming tomorrow night probably. But being off a couple days this week just sort of screwed things up a little bit. Anyway, we discussed earlier about Todd Blanche now being confirmed as the Attorney General, which is just horrible. I don't think people understand how horrible that is, because he will do the president's bidding come the midterms, no doubt about it. So I'll use this reminder to everyone to vote like it's the last election you will ever participate in, because if they have their way, it will be. You know, we're getting more and more good signs about the Senate. If this election can happen freely and fairly, I firmly believe that the Democrats will take control of the House and the Senate, and there will be hearing after hearing after hearing after hearing after hearing. That's my expectation. That's what I'm holding out hope for. So a conversation I want to have tonight with men, because I believe that we should be teaching sex ed, age-appropriate sex ed in school. Should not be teaching the Bible at all. Male loneliness is because of men. Men are not protectors, although I'll ask the question, are men protectors? And then why are men not accountable? We'll see. See if anybody wants to have that conversation. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Is it Saturday? Yeah, it is. I almost lost track of the days. Some type of legislation first? What do you mean, Tommy? Some type of legislation first. What do you mean? You're gonna have the president's gonna have to sign it. There's not gonna be a veto-proof majority in either house. So what do you mean by that? You want to come up and talk to me about it? Because I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you come up and talk to me, Tommy, about that? Because I'm curious as to what you mean by that. What type of legislation would you be looking for? Like what would that look like? And keep in mind, the president would still be the president. You're not going to have a big majority. You might have a big majority in the House, but you're not going to have a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. So I'm curious as to what that's going to look like for you. So if you could request up, we could talk about it. Hey, Paige, how are you? Everybody keep tapping, please. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
And we're back.
so I wanted to talk about how the Navy service members are being treated out at sea.
Yeah.
I'm really upset about that as a military mom. Our men and women are not supposed to be treated like pieces of shit. And I'm sorry?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna bring Tommy up. So yeah, I'm gonna bring him up. But go ahead and finish what you're gonna say.
Yeah. So the parents of these military service personnel on the USS Abraham Lincoln are getting notes from their kids saying that, you know, they don't have enough food. They don't have enough. Sadie, shut up. They don't have enough food. They don't have enough water. Morale is super bad. They have hit the record of the longest amount of time out to sea ever in the Navy's history. You know, I don't understand why it is that we're sending how many was it billions or millions? It might have been millions, but it's a lot of money to Colombia, but we don't have the money to send to make sure that our service members have food, water, and everything that they need.
Rations. I know, it's
on the
ridiculous.
USS Abraham Lincoln. It's weird.
It's funny that we named a ship.
And it's not right.
It's funny that we named a ship after something that didn't exist.
Whatever.
Tommy,
Details.
I know, Tommy. Thank you for coming up. So I'm just curious about your comment about legislation first before those things happen. What do you mean by that?
I didn't consider the fact of the no veto ability. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously that's the goal. You know, we want healthcare, we want education reform, we want money out of politics. But the likelihood that the president's going to sign any of that is two options, slim and none.
Yeah. You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah. Okay.
That was just my thing. I don't want to have control of the houses and not do anything.
Yeah, I get it. I think we all feel the same way, but I think doing something would be also holding people accountable, like trying to impeach Todd Blanche, trying to impeach Pete Hegseth, all these kinds of things. I think that those are reasonable things that we should be doing because they can no longer be in the positions that they're in. I would consider those policy, to be honest.
Facts.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
You got it. See you later.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable, sure, but I also would like us to consider using something that we learned from the Trump administration. Throw as many executive orders out there as possible. Throw them all out there. Let the court challenge them, but use them for good. Like use them to say we're going to sign an executive order that abortion is legal in all 50 states up to the Roe v. Wade limit. What's it, 24 weeks? Right? Or we are banning sales. We're using an executive order to ban the sales of AR-15s across the country. I'm not saying that we would do that. I'm saying let's use what the Trump administration did. They want to use executive action and executive orders to say birthright citizen doesn't exist or mail-in ballots doesn't. Well, then we'll just use it in reverse. We'll use it in reverse. That every president of what shade of men host? What shade of men host? Anyway, why not take a lesson from their playbook? They use that. Why not do the same thing in reverse? And I don't want Democrats to be afraid of that. Let them challenge it in court. That's what we've been doing. Let them fight it out in court. Let's use the executive orders. Let's blow up the fucking system that they tried to destroy and fix it and bring it back so that people have health care, so that women's rights to their body are protected, so we're protecting marginalized communities, so that we're funding support for the disabled community, so that we're protecting the rights of LGBTQIA, etc. Yeah, McCarthy, it's all men. So come up and talk to me about it. It's absolutely all men. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, their strategy has always been to flood the gate. Flood the gate, overwhelm them, and then see what sticks. And, Donald Trump has not given up on this birthright citizenship thing. He is going at it again. Now we're going to have to pee on sticks if we get off planes.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's really true. Yeah. Every woman who comes from another country, even legally, is going to have to do a pregnancy test now. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just wild.
Newsound, Tiff, I hear you that you don't want Democrats issuing orders that they know will fail. I hear you. I completely understand. But I think my point is, and I'm being a bit perhaps stretching a little bit. My point is that it can be an effective tool to do things that would benefit people. So I would at least like to test the waters a little bit. I would at least like to test the waters. So, lean in to say, is this constitutional? Let's find out if it is. Let's find out if it's constitutional. An executive order can legalize abortion in all 50 states up to 24 weeks. Let's test it, right? That's what I'm saying. Let's test it. That's what they've done. That's what these. Don't forget, this was a test run back in the first Trump administration. They tested a lot of these things back then. Theories, right? They tested these theories, whether it be the Electoral Count Act or the role of the vice president when it comes to confirming elections, that kind of stuff. So let's test it. Let's take a page out of that playbook. Just we'll find out. Travis, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you. Do you want to discuss some of the items that are on the prompt, or do you have something else in mind?
I do, and specifically the male loneliness is because of men. What is your basis of the claim?
So, do you know what the male loneliness epidemic is?
I don't really give a fuck. Look at my ass.
Wow, that's so nice, bro. Fabulous.
Yeah, the male loneliness happens because of you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, does he not get it? You are the fucking reason, bro. You are the fucking reason.
Mike,
Hello?
hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello, how's everyone's day?
Good.
Okay,
How are
hold on one second.
Yeah.
I was talking big Mike there. Hold your big mic, Mike. The thing is that you are the bad apple in the bunch that's fucking it up for all the other dudes. Do you get that? You are the M&M filled with cat shit, bro. Just FYI.
Yeah, I don't need to restart. We're fine. But thank you. Appreciate that. Mike, what's on your mind? Yeah, there's another one.
You like that, baby? Fuck you, bitch.
Fabulous. Just fabulous. So the point is that we're making is that male loneliness is because of men. So it is weird, right, Kristen? It's weird. Like, what? I mean, it is kind of funny, but like, what? Why do we block McCarthy? Do you not want to come up, Jen?
Because I've seen enough of him. His mommy probably hasn't seen that much of him. I can't deal with little boys like that are going to try and take your life down and get your count suspended.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, like I have better things to do than play with little boys that have 3 ball hairs and nothing else to do on a Saturday night because they're fucking lonely because of male loneliness that they're causing.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll give it a few more minutes. It may just be just may be the dregs of the evening at this point. Yeah. What was that? Chaos says, as a gay man, I'm fucking embarrassed. Yeah, well, Chaos. Yeah, I appreciate you, friend. Saturday is the night for the crazies, Ren. You've been in my lives before. It's not exclusive to Saturdays, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy shit.
These guys are like the proof that there's a male loneliness. There are a bunch of males together in a room somewhere taking their pants off with each other.
Likely.
Because they don't have women that are interested in them.
Or other men at this point, even. They may not even
nobody.
Be. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. Welcome back. You're muted. There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
Wait, no, I've been in the whole time, and I'm just like, oh wow.
Can I offer? I just want to offer. I want to offer a little advice to those 2 gentlemen who came up here. Boys, you could try washing your ass every once in a while, right? Now, you perhaps believe in the trickle-down hygiene theory. I think that was pretty obvious to everyone that was in here. So I might make a suggestion that you might want to spend a little time on your hygiene. Maybe. Anywho. Sorry, Michelle. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna show my camera for a second. I don't know if you guys can see. Let's see here. All right. Can you see?
Your camera's on. Now we
Anything
can.
yet?
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Okay. Now how do I flip it?
Brent says no ass shot, Michelle.
Okay. Okay. No. This is what mature women who don't need a man do. I'm mulching my front yard.
There you go.
I'm hanging out with my beautiful boys. We're having a good time, right?
I love them. I love them so much.
What's up, fellas?
And we're mulching
Looks like a nice night.
because it's beautiful. It's beautiful out. It's still like 96, but with a breeze. So the only time that I can get some mulching done. But this is what grown-ups do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate that.
Even when I was dating somebody and he lived with me, I couldn't get his motherfucking narcissistic ass to get off his ass and do this. I still did it. So Hence why I choose myself.
Yes, and the
And
bear.
by the way, whoever's asses those were, you might want to get that checked out.
Seriously.
There was some concerning things growing out of them cheeks there. You might want to have that looked at.
I would agree. I think I have somebody in the guest box. I'm not sure if they they want to contribute to the conversation. If we don't get anybody else, I think we'll probably just end, but that's okay. Veronica, how are you tonight? Veronica? I think Veronica's sleeping. That's okay, though. All right, I guess we'll wrap there then, friends, tonight. Interesting evening, for sure. While you're both here, anything that you would like to offer? Any comments, words of advice, whatever it might be?
Don't do whatever any of those dumb fucks in the guest have been doing. If you want a real relationship, a long-standing relationship with a mature woman who knows what she wants, don't do that shit. Just don't. It's not cute.
No, it's not.
Pick up your own laundry, clean up your own dishes, offer to make dinner once in a while. Do the basics. That's it.
Maybe own more than one pair of socks. That might help too. Just saying.
Yeah, and maybe clean your asshole regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Well, that actually that would be considered gay, apparently.
Yeah, if you touch your own butthole,
right, because they do the rundown shower. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw this out there. So you alphas in the chat, so some of you are in here chirping, fellas. I don't know if you know this, but your G-spot's in your butt, boys. Just throwing that out there. I'm just gonna throw that out there just for you to digest on. But yes, exactly. Jen, any words that you'd like to offer, friend? Appreciate you.
Words of wisdom. Where are your children right now? Go find your children. Are those your boys with their little crumbles in their butthole?
Okay, we got John.
and
We've got
showing
John.
it off?
You hold your final thought till we're done. So I'm glad John's here. All right. Hi, John. How are you?
Steve, I come to you with a clean butthole.
Excellent. Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So, interesting comments. So, John, I just kind of want to unpack some of your belief set. And I understand you were putting your daughter to bed, so #girl dad.
Yeah, she's 13, and every night, her and I just have time. Yeah, I mean, I'm married, been married for almost 25 years.
Okay.
And every night I go in, talk with her for 15, 20 minutes about life and how she's doing and all those kinds of things.
Okay.
I do the same with my son who's 17. So anyways, continue. Sorry.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate that.
Didn't
So-
mean to derail the conversation.
No, you didn't. So we've had some interesting conversations tonight. And what have you picked up on from these conversations we've had?
I've been in and out.
Okay.
So, I guess my thing, what I commented on was, and maybe I'm out of line or mistaken where you were going with the vulnerability thing. And I've only got about 10 minutes because
that's fine. We'll take it if you're willing to.
This is also my wife and I's time to hey, let's decompress after a long day.
I get it. I understand. Yep.
But I guess the vulnerability thing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're saying, and I guess maybe I understand. Why don't you expand a bit more on what you mean by that?
Okay,
I guess I'm not going to be out with a bunch of buddies. I guess I'm not going to be out with a bunch of buddies, and we're going to be like, crying on each other's shoulders.
Why not?
I guess is kind of the way I.
But why not?
I don't really see a reason to do that.
Okay.
Because that's not what any of us do.
Okay, but I'm so glad you said that. That's kind of the point, though, right, John? So your comment was that
I understand that.
Yeah, your comment was you should only show, for lack of a better term, emotional vulnerability with your spouse or your partner. Is that your belief?
Yes and no. Like, in a group setting, I guess I don't necessarily mean that, but like, I've got two really, really, really good friends
Mhm.
that I can call and talk to, or we can spend time and hang out together. But if I'm in a group setting with 10 or 12 dudes and we're in a cabin fishing, that's just not something that's going to happen. If that makes sense.
Okay, so say for example, one of you was going through some shit. I've got friends that I ride motorcycles with. I've got friends that I used to hunt with. I don't hunt anymore,
Sure.
but I have friends that I fish with. And there's a group of people together, and we've all gone through these moments where we're going through some fucking shit, whether it be divorce or my daughter was sick. They were there for me, and they were a safe space for me, and I let my emotions flow. So, are you saying that if you're going through a rough stretch, or your friends are going through a rough stretch, that's not a space where you all can be vulnerable with each other?
Maybe I've never been put in that situation, so I don't know.
It's interesting because I guess,
like, honestly,
yeah, no, I get it. I mean, that's the point. So there's probably let me ask you this question: have there been times when you've been with your group of friends where you've felt some emotions that you perhaps would have wanted to share if you felt more safe in doing so?
I don't believe so. No.
Really?
Because when I and maybe I'm different than you, but when I get away, like the outside world shuts off, and I'm there, and whether it's in hunting camp, fishing camp, whatever, like everything else stays at home. And I mean, maybe that's just me compartmentalizing things, but that's just kind of, me personally, how I am. I mean, have I had stresses in my life where I've been places? Oh, absolutely. IRS issues and, not like my wife and I family issues, but, mom and dad and all, my dad died of cancer. And, I had friends that I could talk to about that. But, when we go on something like that, it's like, hey, everything, the outside world shuts off and we're there together doing our thing, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Right.
And I don't think that that's abnormal.
I think you're right. That's the problem, though. See, what we're talking about here is we're trying to encourage men, because you've got a script, and I think we've spoken before. I started to recognize you, actually, but maybe not. Anyway, I think.
No, I've never spoken with you.
Okay.
I found you tonight yeah, I've listened to you, but I've never requested up and spoken with you.
Okay. So I advocate for the things that I think you are, just for lack of a better term, John, that you might be afraid to express. Like, I advocate for those things. Like, none of us walk around every day with everything being like peaches and ice cream or pints of Ben and Jerry. If you know, you know. But I think there are
100%.
Yeah, there are days that there's stuff that just weighs.
I'd go Baskin Robbins, not Ben and Jerry.
That's fine. That's blasphemy. I'm blasphemy. I live in Vermont, but whatever. That's fine. We'll move on. There's days when the weight of the world is on us, and I'm concerned that unless you are willing, as you described, as you described, the only time that you feel that you should share something that you really feel vulnerable is with your spouse or your partner. Do you really believe that the only time you can be vulnerable is with your wife, or in your case, your wife, or in somebody else's case, their partner?
I think it depends on the situation.
Why though?
I think because I think if it's a very, very personal issue that they're not, your friends or your, whatevers aren't a part of, but your wife or spouse are intimately involved in and know the complete situation of, I think that is a better place to be, a better person, him, her, whoever, to discuss those things with, because they already kind of know what's going on. They understand the situation. And I don't know that spending the time always, now there's situations where yes, other people's input maybe, it is not maybe, but is valuable. But I think it's situational dependent. Like, my wife and I, like I said, been married a long time, been dating since 1997. God, I'm old. And she knows me inside outside upside down, and I know her the same. And I think that there's just certain things that you keep between the two of you because you both know how each other work and what the answer is going to be, if that makes sense.
It makes sense because that's the patriarchy that I'm trying to help.
I don't know if that's the patriarchy. Like
Well-
our family, my family is very, very, very matriarchally run.
Well,
Like I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Right, but what you're
you know,
describing, look, emotionally though, emotionally, what you're describing
understood
is the patriarchy, meaning that the only time you feel like you can talk about things that are heavy, weighted, personal, is with your wife. Again, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that's more or less what you said, right? So then, I
You're
guess
not wrong,
I guess well, here's a question for you though: what if there's something that's going on between yourself and your wife? So if you like what happens? What happens there?
Go ahead.
What happens there?
That conversation, we're very, very, very frank. We discuss it between ourselves. But if that point comes, it's probably usually my sister that I would talk to.
Your sister. So, it's interesting because
I guess the big thing is that they're my close family is very, very close to me for a reason that is way, way, way too long for me for us to go into right now.
Okay.
But the people that are close to me are very, very close to me for a reason.
Sure.
And my wife and I mean, I know that there's not a lot of people. I am very, 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 very blessed to be married to the woman that I am. Very blessed. She tolerates way more than what she should have or should do because I'm a bit of a wild cannon. But more so when I was younger. But it's I guess it's just one of those things where we've always just dealt with stuff in house because that's how her and I have always been.
Do you think though? I know you didn't have a lot of time, and I want to give Michelle and Jen. I'm sure they have a million questions. Maybe not, but I'm assuming. But I just curious because some of the comments that I saw about because what it's done, then it becomes the women in your life then have taken on the emotional labor of some things that are going on, whether it be your wife or your sister or whoever else it might be. Now, don't you think that there may be other men in your circle that might be going things as well, who may not have the same support network that you have, that may not have the same type of relationship that you have with your wife, that might be struggling, that may not have the same?
100%. What do for sure.
Right.
And I mean, just for example, I have my best friend. He's going through some things right now, and I'm his only source of his only person he can talk to about it, and I'm there for him. And I've talked with him about a few things. I guess my thing is that because you said in public, and it's like, some things don't need to be public, I guess, in my opinion. And so sometimes those conversations, for me, my sister, she's gone through a bunch of stuff, and I've been her rock. My wife and her family have been through some stuff, and I guess, maybe it's just a different relationship than what you have, than what you're talking about, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's kind of that's sort of when I reference the patriarchy, that's kind of what that is, John. First of all, I respect the fact that you said you're a stay-at-home dad and obviously you're committed to your kids, and I respect that. That's great. But we're talking about some of the other stuff. Michelle, Jen, any questions for John? I know he doesn't have a lot of time, and I want to be respectful of that. But do you have any questions for him while he's up here?
Man.
Okay, thank you. Jen, Michelle, any questions?
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, John, what happens if your wife, something were to happen to your wife and she wasn't able to be that soundboard for you and you had nobody else? What would is there something that would happen? Like, would your friends or the people, the other men in your life, would they judge you or something if you really had some kind of breakdown with them or anything like that?
Absolutely not. No. I would again, I have, like I said, I have two very, very close male friends that him and, both of them and I have been through, I've been through a lot of stuff with them. Unfortunately, they weren't as blessed as I am to find, a significant other. And so I've helped them through things. My thing is, I just, the point in life I am, I've just never needed a lot of that, if that makes sense. Like, and I know I have it, and they know they have it with me. I just have never really needed that. Now, back in, when I was way younger, yes, I had friends that I would, I lived at a friend's house for a while because of some things that went on at home, and they were, but to this day, he's still one of my best friends. I've got two of them. He's the other one, and him and I can talk about anything. But I think there's certain things that are meant to be between, my wife and I, or my direct family and I, and you don't need to involve other people unless you absolutely have to, if that makes sense.
It's a choice. I think it's a choice.
Sure.
I think it might, and I think it makes sense to you because it seems like there's this. It seems like there's this sense that for some reason you don't feel like you can have these, for lack of a better term, heavy, emotionally charged, vulnerable conversations with anyone unless they are close to you in a way that your wife is close to you. Is that a fair summary?
Yes and no. Again, it depends on the situation.
So let's talk about how, let's say it's. I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say it's money woes. Okay, let's say it's like the stress of the day. It's money woes, and it's impacting your family, and it's a difficult conversation to have, and because people go through money woes every single day.
Absolutely.
So you don't feel like that would be something that you could talk to your friends about?
Oh no, that would be something absolutely I would talk with my one friend about, especially.
Okay, so
absolutely.
So say for example, when you go to hunting camp or fishing camp, how many guys are there with you?
It depends on the year.
Generally,
some years there's three of us.
Okay,
yeah, 5 to 8.
Okay, so let's say 5, right? So the likelihood that somebody in that group is probably going through something similar to what we just talked about, the financial woes, right?
It's very high.
Safe to assume. So wouldn't that be an environment? Wouldn't that be an environment to commiserate with each other? Wouldn't that be an environment to say, I'm going through some shit, guys. I want to unpack this a little bit. And somebody be like, you know what, man, I'm going through that too. Then somebody else says, you know what, bro, fuck, I went through that. I went through that last year. That's the organic nature of how these conversations can help. Right?
You're not wrong, but I think a lot of it, and it goes back to a person's pride, and if they want to bring that up at that point in time, should they feel comfortable? It depends on how comfortable they are around the people that they're with. But I don't disagree with you.
Why couldn't you be the one though? Like, I'm probing here, John, because I'm intrigued by this because I want people. I'm an advocate for men's mental health, proactive mental health, not always reactive. I'm an advocate for So I'm an advocate for vulnerability and transparency because I think it really creates better relationships, better bonds, not just with our romantic partners, but other people. I'm an advocate for emotional intimacy. Like emotional intimacy is not always centered around romantic relationships. Emotional intimacy is what we're describing. Yeah, it's what we're describing. The ability to be vulnerable, like the ability to say, listen, fellas, I got to get this off my chest. And then, because that's what happens, because imagine you carrying that stress around, the very likelihood somebody that you know is also carrying the same stress. And because you've all got this script in your head that we can't talk about it, right? We can't talk about it because it's not something that we men do. Imagine what the world would look like if men were like, guys, can we get together? Can we go out for some food? I got to get some shit off my chest. Because I can guarantee you the first person that opens up about that is going to create an environment where others feel safe to open up to. Could you be that person?
Well, I mean, I have been, but I don't think I'm from the Midwest.
Okay.
I don't think that a lot of men would be very comfortable talking about their financial issues with a bunch of other of their friends.
Whatever the topic
And
is, like
and
whatever.
and you're not. We'll just go with that one
Okay.
because that's what you brought up.
Okay.
And you're not wrong that may or that's probably not right. But I don't know that the group of friends that I would be with would bring up, I got financial issues. Hey, we're having
marital problems
I
or
think
health
issues.
issues.
Yes, I don't know that they would even bring that up. I have, because I'm an open book. You can ask me any question you want. I'll tell you the answer. You may or may not like it, but not a lot of people, men or women, are like that.
Well, I'm not going to speak for the women. I would ask the women on the panel.
No, I'm not either. I don't know that a lot of people are like that.
Not in my experience.
In a group setting.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, because I think it's about the environment that you're willing to create yourself, right? So that's the example that I gave, right? Like you're not gonna. Everybody, well, I think the saddest example would be if people are sitting around not knowing that there's this. It's like the duck on the surface of the water. Everything looks calm, but the feet are going like crazy underneath, right? Oftentimes, people use the iceberg example. Same sort of thing. So I think it's safe to say that you've been in these group settings with your friends, and people are going through some shit. And that what a great opportunity to be able to say, I want to push through this stigma that men can't talk about emotionally charged, important issues and be vulnerable unless they're with their partner. I'm going to break through that stigma right now. Guys, I got some shit going on. Would you mind if I talk to you about something? I can tell you through personal experience that when you do that, someone says, you know what? I went through something similar last year. So again, we'll use financial situations. I went through this similar last year. I called this person. They helped me out so much. And then that creates a solution to a problem that you've been carrying the weight around yourself with. So you never know, right? Like you never know the opportunity and what that could do for change. Big picture, this is kind of the issue that we're talking about with men, about the unwillingness for men to be vulnerable. The unwillingness for men to say, I got a script in my head. Because even your words, you may not even realize it, John, but even some of the words and the way in which you said them, that's the patriarchy talking. Men don't want to do those things. Yeah, that's not true. That's the script of the patriarchy. Go ahead, Michelle. I'm sorry.
John, do you have boys?
I have I've got a 17-year-old.
Oh, perfect age. Do you talk to him at all? Does he share things with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're teaching him that it's healthy to have conversations and discuss your feelings, correct?
Yes, he comes to me with everything, more so than his mother. Mostly because I've been the one that's been home with him. And I'm far more of an open person as far as that goes than she is. But yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say that we're best friends, but I'm his dad.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
Exactly, and you shouldn't be his best friend. You should be his
You're
father
exactly right.
first. But you should also, as you seem to be, showing him that it's healthy to have conversations like these, emotionally challenging conversations with another male. That's important. So if you can have those conversations with your son, why can't you be that open with your male friends?
I don't think that I can't be. It's just like I told the host. It's not really something that ever comes up in a group situation. In a one-on-one situation, it does. And I am, but in a group situation, I don't. I guess maybe the dynamic might be part of the issue. Where hey, we 8 of us go, 3 of us are really, really close. The other 5 are kind of acquaintances, and you don't want to bring that up. And depending on what it is. Now, when my father was diagnosed with cancer, I mean, him and I were very, very close. We had a rough go until I was about 18 years old.
So sorry.
But him and I got close. It happens, man. And him and I got very, very close, and we go to those places, and absolutely I would say, hey, my dad's got this. Do you guys have any ideas of how to handle this and what to do? To anybody I would talk to. But again, I'm a different human being. I'll open up to anyone. But I don't think on extremely personal, um, financial issues, issues between your spouse or your significant other. I don't know that if it's just an acquaintance, you want to bring that up. I mean, and I don't know that a lot of guys feel comfortable doing that, if that makes sense.
Can I don't generally like to.
Wouldn't you say that
Sorry,
was
Michelle.
more patriarchal? No, you're fine. Yeah, I was just gonna say my family, my brothers. I'm the only girl of 4.
Oh, you're
my
tough as
brothers
shit then.
very much. Yeah, no, yeah, tough. Yeah, because I have to defend myself against them and their
Absolutely.
friends and such. Growing up, but
Yep.
very much the same way. Acted very hard on the outside in front of males, but I've seen them cry.
Sure.
But also they were afraid to show those emotions with certain people, and I think that's kind of where patriarchy has shown men that it's okay to disconnect or to not be as I don't want to use the word sensitive.
Emotional, sensitive, whatever. I know we know what you're talking
emotionally
about.
mature. Let's say emotionally mature, because in actuality that's what it is. But I think it's important and it's healthy, especially when raising boys and young girls, because you want your daughter to come to you if, God forbid, she's in a relationship with a man who is muting her, who's keeping her quiet,
Sure.
who's not allowing her to have a say. You would absolutely, want to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And my son as well.
Yeah.
I don't always like to use anecdotes, but I have an example that I can give you that's personal to me, and I think it sort of addresses on what I've been talking to you about. And thank you for engaging with us. I appreciate it. Friends, if you're enjoying the conversation, please gift our panelists, please help the live remain relevant. So I talk about this all the time. My daughter's a 2-time cancer survivor. She's healthy. She goes off to college.
Good.
She goes off to college in a
Thank
week and a
God.
half. Yeah, agreed. When she was sick the second time, we had long extended 13 days at a time that we were inpatient state, so we were spending time in the hospital. And I remember during that time that I was the only dad that was there regularly, and I was there pretty much around the clock. There are many hours and days, et cetera, et cetera. And I always asked myself,
That's very sad.
It is sad. So I'm going to get to the point here. So I remember this one particular day where there was a dad showed up. So I took the opportunity to say, I introduced myself, asked about, there's a common bond between parents of caregivers, especially this was the cancer ward that we were in at the hospital. So I was asking him, I said, tell me what you do for work. So we started to engaging. I said, I noticed it's the first time that you've been here. He's like, yeah, somebody's got to pay the bills, which I respect. Obviously that happens. So then that conversation turns into, is there anything though more important than helping your kid recover from a life-threatening illness? And his child had it a hell of a lot worse than my kid did. Cancer's horrible. My daughter had a 50-50 shot. His child had like an 80% chance that they were going to pass away. So that conversation turned. Then the next day, someone else showed up. And then we ended up having 4 or 5 dads that would just, for happenstance, we ended up in the toy area and our kids were playing. So we started sitting around just talking. And then that turned into an environment where men felt like they could look at other men that were in the room and realize that we're all in here at the same time. We're all experiencing this together. Why can't we talk about it together? And then that turned into, for me personally, organizing this group that met every other week, who started with the cancer survivors. And then one guy who in our group, his name was Mark, we're still friends to this day, he said, hey, Steve, would you mind if I ask my buddy? His kid's not sick, but he's got nobody to talk to. So it turned into this thing just because of one conversation about why is it that you feel like you have to go to work? Can't you figure out a way to balance that out a little bit more? Maybe spend a little bit more time. Your wife's here like all the time. Could you maybe help balance that a little bit so she could maybe get a little bit of a break? Because as we learn, as a parent with kids who are going through illnesses, one of you has to be rested. So I use that as an example because that kind of speaks to what you're talking about. Men don't know because men aren't being asked by other men how they're doing. What can I do to help you? What environment could I create that might make you feel safe talking to me. Because men are suffering, John. Men, and again, yes, the male loneliness epidemic is because of men. It doesn't change the fact that men are suffering, men are struggling, and because they don't feel like they have anybody to talk to other than, in your case, their partner. What if they don't have a partner? What if they don't have somebody they're close with? What if they don't have the relationship that you have with your wife? What are they supposed to do if we don't start breaking that cycle?
That's a phenomenal question. I don't know that I have an answer for you.
Something to think about.
I think it's a sad state of affairs if you don't have. I mean, like I said, I have friends that I can confide in. I'm blessed in that. I have a wife. I have my mother's still alive. She's got her own issues, but I have my sister. I've got, multiple different people that I can confide in, but I'm not everybody. And what you're saying makes 100% sense.
Yeah, like especially for your 17-year-old son. Like especially for your 17-year-old son. Like why not? Like why not now? Say, listen. You shouldn't be so stoic, and feel like the only
He's
person.
not.
Okay, great. That's fantastic.
Yep.
What would that look like if he was struggling? Would you only want him to come to you, or your wife?
No, he has. I have because he's doesn't have anybody outside of the family at home. I have helped him or tried to help him. I think I have done an okay job with it. 17-year-old boys now are a chore sometimes, and he's an amazing kid. But him and his friends are extremely close, and he's a loud talker. So I hear him. His girlfriend was assaulted at school last year, and I heard, him and his friends talking about, hey, here's what happened, and I was extraordinarily proud of him because, he told both my wife and I, and then I overheard him speaking with his friends about it, and I'm like, that's your support system. That should be your support system at 17 years old. It should be your friends. It should be your, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever friend. But you still felt comfortable enough to come to both my wife and I and say, hey, this happened. And it's a gal he cares a lot about. And I was extraordinarily proud of him. I don't know at 17, the person I was then, that I would have done the same. I'm not that same person now, 30 years later, but him at that age, I was extraordinarily proud of him. And he was there to support her with whatever she needed. And, it just, and then my wife and I called school and, kind of pressured the school to make sure stuff got done on his behalf and her behalf, because she was, the one that was assaulted, but he was threatened. And, I guess it's just kind of at my age, and Steve, I'm sure you have a lot more friends than I do, and that's great. But at my age, I've got my certain amount I got my close little group of two or three friends that I confide in, and then, I've got my wife and my family, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's in a way it's kind of sad to hear that, John. Not that let me rephrase that. I'm extremely proud that and excited to hear that your son, in a way, is breaking that cycle that we've just discussed, right? That because so he's aware. So obviously he learned that from somewhere. You perhaps made yourself available to him for conversations. Your wife did as well, obviously. Like, as you explained it, you've been the stay-at-home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've been the stay-at-home dad, so there becomes that connection there, right? You've been able to be available for your son and for your daughter, obviously. So that message got to him to say, I feel comfortable talking about my emotions because I've had somebody that I can talk to my emotions about. In his case, it's you. In your daughter's case, it's you. So he's already been conditioned to not have to push it down. Was that similar to the relationship you had with your dad?
No.
You see what I mean?
No, my father, yeah. Well, no, and you're not wrong. Like, my childhood was very, very tumultuous, and I don't want to bore you with, any of that. I've already been through the therapy to go through all of that jazz.
I get it.
And it was, it was a rough go.
I get it. Yeah. Same.
But at the same time, when I was 17 years old, I wouldn't have felt comfortable coming to either my mother or my father, and I would have went to my friends. And the fact that he came to both of us, and also went to his friends, I think that's, at that level, I think that's the way it's supposed to be. And I could be completely wrong.
Well,
but I mean,
it's interesting you say that, because as we were discussing earlier, you were saying, well, that's just not men. Men just don't do that. But yet your son's doing it. His friends are doing it.
True. But he also hasn't been married to the same woman for 25 years and has been through thick, thin, upside down, inside out, turned around, whatever. He's a young man. And from the way I my experience, and of course, it's all anecdotal, but young men and young women, for that matter, your friends are the friends are their life. And like, to me, that's just normal. Like, you would go to your friends even before you would go to your parents. And the fact that he decided to come to us as well, to me, is phenomenal, because I never would have done that. If that makes sense.
It does. I mean, yeah. I mean, sadly, it does make sense. But I think what's happened, because
you're not wrong. It's sad.
Well,
right.
Because as you described it, when you were younger, you chose, whether just because of the tumultuous nature of your home life, similar, grew up around domestic violence. I get it. I understand it. You don't need to share.
Sure.
You don't need to share. I get that.
No.
And I respect
that.
I
can if you want me to, but
no, it's okay.
I've been through it.
It is what
it is.
I
But,
get it.
you know.
Yeah. So I guess you turned to your friends at that particular time for survival. We'll call it survival, emotional survival. We'll call it whatever that might be, right? So you turned to your friends.
That's exactly what it was.
But as you've gotten older, that support system that you had when you were younger, for some reason, you don't feel like that support system would be there for you now.
No. Like I said, I mean, even back then, it's not like I'm going to go tell every person that I know and every friend that I have about what's going on.
We're not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
So I guess maybe we've crossed paths here. Like, there are 2 to 3 really, really close friends of mine that I guess the way I put it is, the friend you call at 3 a.m.
You're ride or die. Yeah, you're ride or die.
That will drive.
Right.
That will drive 500 miles for you, half drunk, white knuckling it to get there to help you. I've got 3 of those that I can talk to anything about.
That's great.
Or about talk to about anything.
That's great.
But the majority of the time, and I guess maybe I've just been lucky that I haven't had a lot of gigantic issues that I've needed to discuss. Majority of the time, it's just handled in-house. Like, my wife and I, we sit down, we talk, and we figure it out.
Okay.
If there's an issue where she doesn't, and she has friends like that as well. If there's an issue where she's like, I don't quite agree with how this is going, or I don't quite, or myself, that we call, hey, phone a friend, lifeline. And it's like, well, maybe somebody else has a better idea. I guess maybe I misrepresented and didn't say quite exactly
No.
explain it the right way, but
No, I heard that. I guess what I was picking up on, and I want to hear from Michelle, obviously, again.
Sure.
What I was picking up on was you were saying, you talked about the Midwest, and you were saying that men just don't do that. And that's the script that I'm hearing, and that's the patriarchy talking,
Sure.
right? So your personal examples of your 2 or 3, I call them ride or dies, like your ride or die friends, right? I'm fortunate. I've got quite a few of them. To be honest, more women are my ride or dies than men. To be honest, that's great. I'm glad you have that. But what we're also trying to make sure that we're addressing is we've got to get, and you still have a little bit of that patriarchy script in your head saying, well, men just don't do that. That's what we want men to do, though. We want men to feel comfortable about that. I'm not talking about walking up to perfect strangers and saying, hey, let me tell you about everything that happened last night. That'd be great. That would be great. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a willingness for men to be vulnerable. A willingness for men to say, I've got shit that I cannot unpack on my own. I need help. Can someone help me? Because I can guarantee you, the thing that you might need help for, there's probably people in your small circle that are probably going through the same shit. That's what I'm advocating for.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
So I guess my anecdotal, or like you gave me an anecdotal, my question would be like,
sure.
So because I do a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing. You're at a hunting camp. There's 8 or 9 of you sitting around the fire.
Mm-hmm.
3 of you are three of you are very you're close.
Mm-hmm.
They're not your ride or dies. One of them is. The other 2 are just good friends.
Okay.
The other 8 aren't.
Okay.
You met them for the first time. Let's say it's a Saturday night. You got there on Thursday.
Right.
And you've got something extraordinarily personal going on. Say, I don't even know, extraordinarily personal going on. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Are you? Now, I would, because I'm that kind of a person. But not everybody is you and I, Steve. Which again, I understand is the problem. Are you going to be comfortable bringing up something extremely personal to people that you don't really know that well?
I'm probably the wrong.
Hang on one second.
Sure.
I know you and I are the wrong people, but think of the other. Put it in a different perspective.
That's the point, though.
I don't know that a lot of people would. I don't even know that a lot of, maybe women would. I can't speak for them, but I don't know that a lot of women would if they don't, depending on what the personal issue is. I don't know that a lot of people, period, would.
I'll ask Michelle.
And maybe Michelle can speak to that.
I'll ask Michelle first, then I'll respond from my perspective. Since you were asked, Michelle, thoughts?
Hi. Yeah. Actually, I think it's more of like a societal pressure thing as to why, and the patriarchy as to why people feel like we can't open up to somebody and ask them the questions. But I mean, I think if we start as humans, start to put aside the what if this person thinks this and what if that person thinks that, and start looking at each other as human beings, as one, like, I want to help you out of this situation. I can see you're hurting. How can I help? Can I be a listening ear? Even if it's just helping you release whatever is built up, I think we as humans and as a society need to do more of that. And I don't see a problem in doing that. And at least say, with your example, you're sitting around a fire with a bunch of guys, half of you whom you don't know. Why not be the one that says, how you doing, man? What's going on? Is there anything that you want to talk about? This is free space here. No judgment. Are you going to therapy? Why not? Why not open up those conversations?
I don't think a lot of people would say that, period. I guess that's my thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you would, Michelle. I don't know anybody in my life that would go into a group of strangers and be like, hey, are you going to therapy? You know what I mean? Like, I don't
I mean,
know
maybe
that
not
that
in that
would
way,
happen.
but
Well, for me, so I understand. Sorry to cut you off, but I understand completely what you're saying. But I don't know. I think it's a bit of a pipe dream to expect that to happen, and I understand Steve has a different perspective because he's had a different thing happen. But he was also in a situation where, hey, this is a unbelievably difficult circumstance that you're all dealing with at the same time. But when you're at a hunting camp or you're on a girls' weekend or wherever, I don't know that that's something that people that you don't know that well that you would confide extremely personal situations in.
So
I mean,
Well,
I
it
could be
doesn't
completely
have to be a
wrong.
pipe, but it doesn't have to be a pipe dream, though. This is something that is taught from generation upon generation upon generation that men have to be protectors, men have to be strong, men cannot show emotion. Who says? Why not stop allowing the patriarchy to control how society sees us and start making a difference and showing empathy towards one another? Why not be one of those people, as Steve says, do something. Be the first to start that conversation with somebody. It doesn't have to be, hey, you going to therapy, man? But, allow yourself to open up to your friends or to people that you associate with and allow them to see that you are a safe space. That's where it starts, is people feeling safe around other people.
I sort of look at it, John, in a way like since you asked the question, so let's use the same analogy, right? I have friends of mine. Like I said, I don't hunt anymore, but we fish together, we ride motorcycles together. There's like 7 or 8 of us that are in our own little club, and we can unpack how we and I want to mention this because Kristen texted me, and I think it's relevant about how we need to have mixed gender friendships in groups, etc. That's a different conversation. Anyway, so yes, are things circumstantial? Sure. But if I'm imagining myself being in a group of people that say there's 3, let's use your model. Say there's 3 people that you are tight with. Those are your ride or dies, 1 or 2 of them. And there's a group of 7 or 8 people. I'm just using your model. You've got something on your mind. You might want to ask one of your friends, hey, can we go take a walk? I got to get something off my chest, right? You come back to the group. Where have you guys been? If they say, where have you guys been? What would you say?
This sounds horrible, but I think there would be. I don't think anybody would say where you guys been. I think it would be horrendous jokes thrown around.
Well, okay. I'm so glad you said that because that.
Like I'm just saying,
well,
I.
But you see what I mean, though. You kind of. I mean, I wasn't.
No, I completely understand what you're saying, but that's what would happen.
I wasn't expecting that answer, to be honest, but I'm glad I got it. That's exactly I think that's.
Well, I'm on it. I told you I'm an open book. I'll tell you. That's God's honest truth.
But see, I think that's part of the problem, though, John. Right? So think about that for a second, right?
I don't disagree.
Okay, so you're being vulnerable with one of your friends. You come back to the group, and the questions that you get are probably homophobic slurs or a whole bunch of shit.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So then because the environment is toxic, because people respond to men bonding over something that's important to one of you, when you walk back to that space, you get the homophobic slurs, you get the bullshit, which would then imply that men don't feel safe opening up to other men because they know they're going to get homophobic slurs, etc. That's not okay. That's part of the cycle.
No, it's not.
That's part of the cycle.
You're exactly right.
Right. So that's part of the cycle that we're trying to break. So why couldn't you be the one to say, so if that happened, why couldn't you come and say, that's pretty childish. Actually, my friend and I just shared something really important that was on my mind. Let me tell you what it was.
Well, no. So Steve, that has happened to me.
Okay.
And a friend, and we came back like, no, my dad's dying of cancer, and we were talking about that, and then the shit that those guys looked like they just ate was insane. So, and then, I mean, again, and it's a situational thing in my, for the way I am. Then, after the quiet gulping of beers where they just kind of stared at the ground. Well, hey, my dad had that, or my mom, and then it did lead to that.
Great.
But again,
fantastic.
I don't think that happens a lot, and you're not wrong. That's not the right way to be.
How I'm curiosity. How old are you, by the way?
Sure. I am 46. I'll be 47 next month.
Okay. I don't. Okay, let me be careful when I say this. I don't disagree with you that it doesn't happen normally, organically. But you described your 17-year-old son, because I'm imagining him going away to a lake to the lake for a weekend with his friends. And the same situation happens. Sure. I would not expect, I'd like to hope that it wouldn't be the same reaction when he came back to the campfire after talking to one of his close friends about something. Because if he is evolved enough, so it becomes a bit of a generational thing, right? So I'm 58, so
100%.
So people in my generation, I'm a little bit older than you. People in my generation, that might be the anticipated response, that you're going to get this homophobic slur, or in many cases, men are sitting around bashing women while they're at these campfires, complaining about their wife, complaining about their partner, complaining about their girlfriend. So that's another part of that. Like, if in a situation like that, would you stand up to them and say, fellas, what the fuck are we doing? We should be talking about...
Absolutely.
That's progress. So that's something that doesn't happen enough either. Those conversations don't happen often enough either. So we're left with this conundrum now, right, John? The conundrum is, as you described it, men are not willing to put away their childish, petty, ridiculous bullshit, stupid arguments, stupid behavior by saying, hey, where were you guys? What were you doing in the woods? While they're bashing the women.
The deep voice is awesome, Steve.
Yeah, while they're bashing the women in their lives. So why not approach this entire thing differently, right? Approach the entire thing differently by saying, I need to talk to you. And when you come back to the group, to be like, listen, I want to let you all know that I've got this shit in my mind. So if I seem distracted or if I seem distant, this is why. Because I can guarantee you there are likely other people in that group who may not be going through the same thing, but are likely going through something else. Imagine the unbelievable emotional beauty that could evolve from that situation. Men just being open and transparent and vulnerable and willing to listen to one another without the script, without the patriarchy, without the man bashing, without the bravado, without all the bullshit. Can you imagine what kind of world we would have if we could do that? And it could start with the campfire. That's the model. It starts with the campfire. Let's imagine that, right? Let's imagine that those conversations are evolving. Because I agree with Michelle. There's the human approach to it as well, right? There's the human approach. Why don't humans connect at that level enough anymore? Women are much more evolved than men are. That's why women should be leading. So we have a lot of work to do. We as men have a lot of work to do to try to catch up. And Michelle would agree. Women aren't perfect either. We all have our faults. We're all working through shit. But we've got so much work to do as men. These scripts that just run in our head over and over and over and over. Like you almost sort of walked into the point. Like the expectation is we can't do that because if we walk back to the campfire, men are going to say, they're going to tell homophobic jokes about us. And then that shuts down the entire conversation. Unless somebody says, well, that was stupid. Actually, what we were talking about is my friend's friend is going through cancer. And sure, let the blood drain from their bodies, but put them on the spot and say, is anybody else going through something similar? Well, actually, my dad passed away last year. Somebody you don't know. Then all of a sudden, what do you got? You've got a bond. You've got an emotional connection. You've got something that somebody can commiserate with, a similar experience. That's progress. That's progress.
Agree.
I don't think you and I disagree a whole bunch on things. I agree with everything you just said.
So the question then becomes, the next time you're together with your friends, would you approach anything differently?
Again, it depends on the situation. It's I'm not going to pry.
Would it be?
I see somebody that's
well, would it be prying though?
What I mean is, Depends on what. It depends. Like everything is situational. If that makes sense. Like
yeah.
I'm not gonna. Sorry, Michelle, to kind of don't want to throw you under the bus, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, have you been to therapy this week? Like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't think most people would.
I don't think that's what we're saying. That's not.
No, but if I
yeah.
see somebody that looks like they're having a rough time, and I do this, and maybe I'm not whatever, but hey, you look like something ain't going right. What's happening here? I've noticed that you've been out without, your kids aren't around anymore like they used to be. All that kind of stuff. What's going on? But again, like I said, I'm a bit like you, Steve.
Well, are you saying you don't think you could do that?
Go ahead.
Are you saying you don't think you could do that?
No.
Okay.
No. I've done that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I don't know, and you're not wrong. That's probably that, or not probably. That is part of the problem. I don't think men, women, and again, Michelle, speak up. I don't think a lot of people feel that comfortable doing that always, and that is a problem. You're not wrong.
No. I would say that it's more of a men thing because women do, for the most part, open up. We do notice and pay
Okay.
attention a lot better than men. So we notice when things are off, especially with our close
Okay.
friends. We have those conversations regularly, and I can guarantee you your wife is talking to her girlfriends a lot more than you think she is
Oh,
about
no, I
a
know
lot of
she is.
things. Yeah,
Sure.
and so we would say it's more of a generational toxicity that men were raised to believe that they cannot and they should not open up and have these conversations with anybody because it shows weakness and so on and so forth. So that's where I think Steve is trying to get you to understand that it starts with men. It starts now. You have to be the one to break that cycle that is showing men that they cannot be vulnerable, they cannot be emotional, they cannot open up to people because you're just showing your friends that are all going through something, because I guarantee every one of them are going through something in your group. You're showing them that silence is the best way to handle it, and then what ends up happening is men become aggressive. Men hurt other people because they have no outlets. They hold things in and they don't know how to channel it properly or get the right help for it. And it creates this ongoing cycle of aggression and violence that, unlike what we're seeing right now. And so I think it's important to associate yourself around people who are open to having conversations, and being a safe space for someone to have a conversation with you.
But do you think that? So you just said that like my wife is talking with her girlfriends, which I know she is, and I'm glad she has that outlet. It's fantastic. They're amazing, but all of them are amazing people. But do you think? I think that there's men out there that do have those one or two friends that they will confide in, and maybe I'm wrong, only because my little group we do that. Just like women do, and around a campfire. Again, I've never been there. You have been, with a group of women. Do you bring up the most sensitive, raw things to people that you don't really know, or do you keep that
Absolutely.
mostly around your? You do. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I do too.
Absolutely. Because we're showing the people that we're associated with that it's okay to share in those that load,
Situations.
share that
Sure.
that weight bearing. So take me for instance. I am a single mother of two special needs children. I don't have a lot of associations, but the ones that I do, I feel comfortable enough confiding in, sharing my most vulnerable situations. I have nurses coming in and out all the time, and actually one or two of my nurses are in the group chat right now. They know everything. They see if I'm having a hard day, they open up to me, and vice versa. If I see that they're having a hard day, I ask them if they're okay. But I'm also not like every woman. I am an empath. I do feel energy, feed off of energy, and I can feel it when I walk into a room. So I can kind of get a sense of what the vibe is like ahead of time, and I think a lot of women are like that, and some men. So I have that advantage. But yes, I am very much like that.
Well, I think maybe yourself, Steve, and myself might be a little bit different than a lot of folks, and the fact that we're comfortable in any setting, situation, or whatever. I mean, Steve, I jumped on your panel, told you that my ass was clean. You know,
that's a start.
Like
that after tonight, that's a start. That is a start for sure.
I'll say, I mean, I am good with whatever. I'll tell you anything you want to know about me. But I don't know. I guess what I get back to is a lot of people aren't that way. Male, female, whatever, men, women. A lot of folks aren't that way, and I think it's difficult for them to open up the way that the the three amigos up here
right I think what we're saying is
difficult,
right,
because I know my wife, my wife is a very extraordinarily introverted person, and I know she has her one or two friends that she talks to, but I wouldn't see her in an open setting like that doing that. Maybe she does. I'm not around. I don't know. It's none of my business. But I don't know that she would feel comfortable discussing that kind of stuff. I just.
So let's
maybe I'm wrong, but it's one of those things that I'm sure it's way more male centric.
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't disagree with that, but I think it's.
We should.
Go ahead, John.
You're John. I'm Steve. We should try to generalize. I think Michelle was giving a specific example of herself, but
you're better looking. Can I have your name?
Why? Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. I'm sure. No problem. It's Steve's for everyone, and I've become the John Whisperer. Apparently,
there you go.
If you know, you know. Anyway, I think we're talking in terms of more generalities, right? Because in general, general, women are more open, vulnerable, transparent, willing to discuss things that perhaps that men wouldn't, and then the converse then would be true for men. So the converse would be true with men. So we're talking about this in terms of generalities. Sure, there are unicorns. Sure, there are uniqueness between men and women, and there's similarities in many areas, but so many differences in many others. What we're talking about is trying to break the generalization, the stigmatisms, right? These examples that you keep bringing up, and I keep hearing the same thing. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Michelle probably picked up on it because she's the empath. You keep saying men wouldn't do that, right? Groups of men wouldn't do that. That's part of the script. What we're advocating for is changing that stigmatization. We're saying we want men to do that. Again, I'll use myself. I would probably be the wrong person to ask that question to because I am an open fucking book. People who know me know, right? So I will read the room. Sure, there are certain things that I'm also a very trusting person, which has burned me in the past, but I'm not gonna. I'd rather be that way than the other way. So when you're presented with a situation, if there's stuff that's on my mind, I don't want to lug it around with me. I want to get it out. Like I want to get it out and I know the people that I'm surrounding myself with, at least my core friends, they're going to be there for me. And I also know that other people are going to be there as well because it's the same problem with other men that they just don't have a way to get it out. So I hope, like the pebble in the pond, like if I'm willing to start that conversation and be emotional and be vulnerable, I'm hoping that other men will. And I've been
the wave spread.
Exactly. That's kind of the point. That's exactly right. That example I gave you on the hospital ward that day. That's what happened that day. I didn't expect it. I didn't plan for it. It just did. It just happened. And it would not have happened if I was nosy. I'll admit it. I'm not taking credit for it happening, but it happened because I was nosy. And I asked. I asked. And then that person then felt safe enough to say to me for some reason, then it turned into the next person, then the next person. And that group of men that we had expanded to 14 at its highlight. We met for a year, every 2 weeks for a year, every Tuesday night.
Awesome.
It was incredible. It was incredible. And I just, then the group grew and it morphed into other things. And then sometimes the conversations were just about our favorite bands. And we all agreed that Led Zeppelin's the best and everybody else is like fourth and fifth. And then we talked about motorcycles. Then we got into relationships and somebody was going through divorce and somebody lost. In fact, a dear friend of mine from that group passed away a couple years ago. It was gut wrenching to me that happened. But those are the kinds of things. That's the evolution that I want. And I don't think it's that far away. Except we have a lot of work to do because we can't put the burden on women to always be there to carry our emotional baggage for us because they do it all. They already do it every fucking day. They carry every burden there is, including the threats of violence. We have to be willing to do the work. We're the ones that have to say, I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to be the one that gets nosy. I'm going to be the one that asks the questions. And that's what I want for you.
I think you're I think you and I are those nosy people. My only thing is that I don't know that there's enough nosy people around like you and I. Like
there doesn't have to be though, because that's you opening up your arms.
Right, but there has to be. Steve can't be everywhere, and I can't be everywhere. And the old joke, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Steve, is you've never met a stranger. I'll talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere about anything. But I don't know that there's a lot of people.
But will you?
Oh, absolutely.
But
What do you want to know?
Well, but again, that's different though. So we were just talking. You said yourself. I'm just going by what you said. You said I may not be willing to open up to somebody.
You're right.
So I don't know if that's entirely true. You might think that in your head, but when it comes right down to it, would you do it? I don't know if you would. That's the point.
You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's sort of the point. I mean, I could.
You got me there.
I want to be. It wasn't intended to be a gotcha. It's just a challenging.
No.
Thought
Hey,
experiment.
no. You challenged me there, and I appreciated that. You're exactly right.
I could talk about this all night. I want to be respectful of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you would?
My wife's already in bed. We're good.
Okay.
I got to look from the thing, and I muted and said I'm having a good conversation. She said, "Love you, good night." And so, yeah, we're good.
Okay.
But no, I probably need to get my butt to bed because I got work tomorrow. It's been a very good conversation.
Can I leave you? Can I leave you?
Appreciate both of you.
Can I leave you with one more thought? And then I'm going to give Michelle a last word on this topic. I want to leave you with one more thought, John. I want you to. I'm hoping that you can. I followed you. Maybe you can follow me back as we can continue this conversation.
I already do follow you.
Thank you.
Come on, man.
What I'm hoping for is the next situation that comes around, whether it's tomorrow or next weekend or a month from now, that you're in the situation and you're in a group of men. I'm just asking you to look at that environment a little bit differently, saying, you know what, things may be going well for me right now, but there could be men in here. Most likely there are men in here who are the duck. They're looking fine on the surface, but there's a whole bunch of fucking shit. And then maybe there's an opportunity where there's an opportunity to say, what's going on in everybody's life, everybody, and then even if it's like, I went through some shit last week, man, I'm so glad I had a group of friends around me that I could talk to. If anybody feels like they got to get some shit off their chest, I'm here. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for.
You got it, man.
Michelle, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I mean, no notes to that, Steve. I think, sure, it may not be something that's societally accepted, but this is what we're doing. We're trying to change society's outlook or perspective or expectations on how people are supposed to socialize. Because, I mean, how else do you make friends if you don't introduce yourself in the very beginning? So why not take that next step and ensure that they trust you, they can trust you, you're a safe space, and lead with that. Open the door and show other men that it's okay to be vulnerable. That's where it starts.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, John, for joining tonight. Please.
Yep. Thank both of you. You guys have a great night, and Steve, I hope your daughter has a great first week of school, and congrats to her for getting into a damn good college.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you. Please thank your wife for us, even though she might be asleep. Please thank her for giving us some of your time.
Yes.
I appreciate that very much, John.
Thank
Thank
you
you. John.
Absolutely,
for
sir.
the
You guys have a good
respectful
evening. We'll
conversation.
talk to you soon.
You too. Thanks a lot, John. See you
You
later.
too. Thank
All
you.
right,
Yeah, bye.
That was great. That was a good conversation.
It was. Okay. Anything else from you? Anything else on your mind?
No. There's always something on my mind, but no, it's already past your bedtime, maybe. So
Just a little. although at decompressing, I'll be up for at least another hour as my brain sort of unwinds this conversation as it's wont to do.
Mhm.
But thank you for being part of that.
Are
I
you sure
appreciate that.
you're not part woman?
Oh, I definitely am. Thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome.
I appreciate you very much as my friend. I'm going to drop you down. Okay. Thanks a lot, Michelle. Appreciate you.
Likewise.
All right. Bye. Thank you all for hanging in there tonight. That was great. I think just more of those, right? Just more of those conversations. Just, the burden does not fall to women to fix men. And I appreciate the fact that John's got someone in his life that he can confide in, but it's what we're hoping is that we can stretch that a little bit to say, you know what, there's people in my life that I care about, whether it's your ride or dies or whether it's not your ride or dies, but everybody's struggling. Like we're all struggling for a variety of reasons. Some are severe. There's the continuum of struggle, right? Whatever it might be. I just want men to be willing to say, you know what, I'm fucking hurting and I could use some help. I can't get through this on my own. That's a script. I struggle with taking flowers. I mean, I've gotten a lot better at it, but you don't ever want to put yourself in a position where you feel like you need help. We tend to want to try to figure shit out on our own, but that's just dangerous. So, thank you, John. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody, for engaging tonight. I don't even know who's live at the moment. I can't even see my screen. My eyes are so tired. But anyway, I'm sure I think Bart is probably live. Just a Bill's probably live. Please go rate them. I appreciate you all very much for engaging that conversation. Really, really love it. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9:00. We'll probably just do a recap of the weekend's news. Legal Dad's live as well out there. Tell everybody who said hi. Please take care of yourselves. And just remember, guys, that there's opportunity. We're talking about baby steps. Unpacking the patriarchy is a journey. Realizing that men have got a lot of work to do to at least be vulnerable. Like we don't want to fall into being aware of that is part of the problem. We're erasing the script that men are not protectors and holding ourselves accountable. What a good journey. And from every woman that I've spoken to, fellas, it's pretty damn sexy. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Talk soon. Everybody get some sleep. Peace.